Hello, and welcome to Friday Night Craft with me. I hope you guys are ready to go for this journal. We are going to do a journal cover. We are going to sew in a signature. We are going to start decorating this journal or making extra ephemera, depending on where we get to. But we're going to have a super fun night of making a journal. I don't know about you guys, but it is Friday night and I could definitely use some crafty time. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. I see lots of you guys joining me tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's see where we're at. For people who are looking for updates for things, I think we are completely finished with everything other than the 2 weeks of invoicing and packing and shipping. All Italian paper stuff should have been dealt with. If you are missing an invoice for Italian paper, it is because I did not have enough Italian paper to go around. It is also, if you're waiting for a tracking number or something, all of the ones who have been invoiced have been shipped. So if you're looking for tracking or invoicing, more than likely your order was canceled because there wasn't enough Italian paper to go around. All kits have been shipped. Even the kits that were requested on Tuesday have been shipped. All that has been invoiced. We are literally ready to start packing, shipping, and invoicing for the 2 week prior sales cycle. We have to come up with a better term for that, but the prior 2 weeks, not Tuesday this week, but the prior 2 weeks, we are ready to start packing, shipping, and invoicing all of that. So that's as far as updates go. In the Facebook group this week, we crossed 5,000 members, so that's pretty amazing, and that's all due to you guys. So thank you very much for that. We are doing the May challenge in the Facebook group still. It runs to the last day of May. You can, even if you only posted and only participated the last day of May for one post, you could still win the grand prize of the $50 gift card. You don't have to post every day. It's just every day that you post, you get an entry for the drawing. And so at the end of the month, I will do a drawing live. It's actually, the drawing is June 1st. Live at noon my time, and so that is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and work your way back. But anyway, noon my time, I'll do the drawing. It'll be live. Hopefully, that person is there that wins. Otherwise, I am going to post it in the Facebook group too, so you'll be notified either way. And then once we get through the May challenge, I think we're going to set aside some time to make the journal for the journal giveaway. And that was supposed to be for my 10,000 subscriber giveaway. However, we've passed 10,000 by a little bit now. So we're almost at 12. We're gearing up for 12,000. So we'll do the 10,000 subscriber giveaway journal in the very near future. Toying with the idea of scheduling myself, and probably some of you too, some time to finish some unfinished projects. The giveaway journal needs to be done. I have umpteen million journals sitting here that are nearly done, or I have bits and pieces all done, but they need assembled and zhuzhed up or whatever. So I have a lot of unfinished projects that I would like to get done. So I would like to schedule myself and you guys some time to get that done. But yeah, there's always a ton going on here, right? It's always super busy. It's always something going on. I'm here with you guys every day of the week for the most part with the 365 videos. I'm here on Tuesdays and Fridays with you guys with a live sale on Tuesday and the crafting classes on Friday. And let's see, we're doing the Facebook group with the giveaway and the challenge. So there's always something going on. And so it does feel great right now for me, because before I start the next cycle of billing and invoicing and whatever, to finally be at that point where I can just take a big deep breath and say, okay, we're caught up. I think I got everyone's questions answered yesterday. All customer service inquiries were done yesterday. So I think we are good for this moment. However, I would have much rather had all of the packing, shipping, and invoicing for the 2 week sales cycle also done. One thing at a time. We have to celebrate the small wins. And the small win for Monday through Friday this week was getting to the point that we're at right now. And then Saturday and Sunday and Monday and probably into Tuesday, I will still be working on the 2 week sales cycle. It is, I know it doesn't seem like it on your side, but it is getting caught up more and more every day on my side. I also have super exciting news. I did hire someone to come and help out here. So that should, they're going to be here Tuesday and Thursday next week. That should also start helping move things along a little faster. And then, I'm still looking for a couple of other people, but at least we have somebody who's coming to help move things along a little faster. So slowly but surely, we're moving in the right direction with all of that. I do also have very exciting news, which I will talk to you guys on Tuesday about, regarding completely new ways of doing invoicing and registering for live sales, and all your shipping tracking, every little customer service thing that you guys can think of. I have an entire new system, and we are going to be debuting that, and we're going to be debuting a different way of doing the live sales themselves. So lots of things changing for the better to help speed things along and get everything done in a more timely fashion, less stress and worry and question about things, no more missing your invoices because you can't find it in your inbox, no more emailing anything. We're all going to move to, what is it, the 21st century? Yeah, we're going to move to that now. So anyway, all good things happen to those who wait, and I was patient, and you guys are patient, and it's all moving in the right direction. So thank you guys for that. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support with the 365 videos. There was no video yesterday, there was no video today, and there may not be a video tomorrow. Because there is only 24 hours in a day, and in order to catch up one thing, I do have to let something else go in order to have the time to catch up the other thing. So it's kind of like juggling, but in the very near future, they're getting better already. So in the very near future, I think things will be a lot more smooth and a lot more on time. So anyway, I will try to do a video tonight for tomorrow, but I'm not sure if I have it in me. I have worked way too many hours in the last 72 hours, and I really am tired. So there may be a video, but there may not be a video. Just know that everything is okay. Know that I will make up all missing videos. In total, we will have 365 videos. As the year gets closer to the end of the year or whatever, I close down for a good 2 weeks. And at that time, I have nothing else to do. I mean, it's the holidays here with my family, but I have nothing else to do other than make up a bunch of videos. So just bear with me. 365, you'll get the whole year, the whole 365 videos. There's plenty of time to catch up after we get through this bump of, new systems, bringing on new people and figuring it all out. So I know you guys are patient. You're very good about being patient, and I so appreciate it. There is a lot of content out there. That's right. That's right, Lindy. There is a lot of content. There's 118 videos so far. Some of them are very long, some of them are very short. And the 118 videos, that's just in the 365 series. There's umpteen million hours of live crafting videos that you can watch as well. I know there's not a shortage of content, and I know most of you have not watched all 118 videos. Some of you have, but a lot haven't. And I know, when I try to watch a channel, you don't always watch every day. You try because, you want to, you're interested in it, but sometimes life happens, whatever. So I also have videos I'm supposed to be watching for other people that I'm like, I've been watching them for forever, whatever the case may be. So it's all good. We're all going to get caught up. We'll all be good. Anyway, I'm good. I'm good. This is the time where it's like, okay, I finally got a lot of stuff done, and now I'm at the point where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be invoicing for the prior 2 week sales. I would have rather started that process on Monday, but starting it on Saturday is still very good. It's still very good. I'm happy with it. So it's all good. We'll get there. And then next week, when we do some changes with the sales, that should make it much better going forward. And I'm happy about that. Of course, there'll be, no new system unveils and works perfectly smooth. I'm sure there will be some little hiccups here or there or whatever, but in another couple of weeks, I'm sure we can all look back and say, "Oh, okay, that's great. Glad we did the change." At least I'm hoping. So anyway, we're going to make a journal cover today if you got the kit. So what we're doing tonight is a May Junk journal kit. It is a fairy or shabby chic or whatever you want to turn it into. My journal just has some little fairy hints here or there. It is not specifically a fairy journal, even though that is the kit that I made. I did not use any digitals from any person's shop that were specific to fairies. What I did use is some digitals that I already had printed, and usually I print like, if it's a very generic digital that I can put into any kind of theme journal, I have a bunch of those printed and I just keep them because sometimes you need an extra page or whatever. So I'm going to use digitals that I already had printed. They're from a couple different places. There's some of my own in there. So it's just random digitals because the kit, it doesn't require a specific themed digital. You'll see what I'm doing. You'll see how it goes just fine. And then if you want fairy journal stuff, then of course you can buy anybody's kit on Etsy and use it if you liked it. I looked on Etsy, and for the most part, like, I'm just going to be honest, like 99.9% of the fairy images I saw were so heavily AI that I did not like them. I didn't like that super AI kind of digital looking thing. So that's why I didn't do a fairy kit. I have my own fairy images. I could have done a fairy kit. In fact, I have one, but I did not get it finished. I did not get it all edited in Photoshop, and I did not get it put into Etsy for you guys. So my advice to you is if you want to do what I'm doing, use very generic, pretty journal pages, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But if you want something more specific, then use whatever it is that you want to use. If you like the super AI fairy digital things, then go use those. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just not the theme that I was looking for my journals. So that's all I'm saying about that. They might have scrapbook paper. I didn't actually look at any type of scrapbook paper. Normally, I don't use scrapbook paper for the pages in a journal because most of the time scrapbook paper is too thick to use as pages in a journal unless you get the super thin like text weight scrapbook paper, and I don't know if anyone makes that anymore. I don't know. I don't generally buy scrapbook paper anymore. I bought some Tim Holtz when he had it just recently, and I have bought some Stamperia ones, and the Stamperia ones, they're really nice for making ephemera for the 365 videos, stuff like that. It's handy because it's there and it's already done and printed and whatever. Plus we have projects that require a 12 by 12. So that's kind of the idea with that. But I know there is lots of other kits by other makers who, you probably already have. If you've been buying digitals, you probably either have some of the same ones I'm using tonight, or you already have some that you can print out and work with. In the kit itself, it came with enough pages to sew in. If that's all you had and you were not going to add anything else to it, you have enough pages in there to make a beautiful journal. I think because it's a quilt cover, it gives us a little bit of wiggle room to put more pages in. So I think if you want to put more pages, you have the space. It's not like, one of the advantages of using an old quilt piece for the cover is that you can make it have a spine. Whatever kind of spine you want, you can just, it's big enough piece of quilt where you can build that in. So as much as like a 1-inch spine, you probably could get away with in this journal. I'm not going to have a spine, like it's not built in. It's just a soft rounded spine. You'll see it when we sew it in. But I'm just saying a quilt cover is the most forgiving size wise. It's the most, like a single signature journal, normally you'd be capped at like 15 to 20 pages to put into a signature for a single signature journal. With a quilt cover, you could stretch that up a little bit more. You could also do 2 signatures or 3 signatures with, maybe 5, 6, 7 pages per signature. So you have options with the quilt cover. Tonight for my journals, I'm just going to do a straight single signature journal with a signature about 15 to 20 pages. We'll see what I end up with. I haven't assembled it yet. I'll do it live with you guys so you guys can come along. You love your quilt section? Good. So now the other thing to keep in mind is there were two, because I had to make a bunch of kits and then I had to make a bunch more kits. And we used the first kits all had a vintage quilt piece in it. I don't know how vintage, it's not super antique or anything, but it did have a specific quilt piece in it. Whenever I ran out of that quilt, I had to purchase a new quilt and use that quilt for quilt covers. Both of them are very similar. One is a little more pinky shabby chic and one is a little more, I guess, vintage looking. But I have both of those in here. I will show you. I am going to make at least one of each cover, one journal of each cover, so you can see, you know, if you got quilt A, you'll see the journal come together with quilt A, and if you got quilt B, you'll see the journal come together with quilt B. So it is a super fun, easy journal to make because the journal cover is already constructed for the most part. If you wanted to, so just here's the steps for the cover. The first thing you need to do with your quilt piece is square it off. When I cut quilts, I could sit there and I could cut them with a rotary cutter and a ruler. I don't. I cut them, I measure them, and I cut them with scissors by hand. For the most part, it's fairly straight, but I cut them big enough to leave room because you're going to need to square them off. Quilts themselves, they shift. Depending on how they were packed, especially the newer quilt, it has some wrinkles in it, it shifts around, whatever. It's just easier to get them cut down into roundabout sizes and then do the final cutting to square them off after you have the piece cut out. So anyway, step one, square off your cover if that matters to you. If it doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. You could check and see how square it is. For the most part, most of them are fairly square, but I did notice some where, you know, there was a little corner or something that you might need to adjust. So I would suggest squaring it off. The second thing I would suggest is if you want to sew around your quilt cover so that all of the edges either have like a zigzag or a straight stitch or whatever you decided to do, go for it. If you wanted to do some hand stitching where you could do like the blanket stitch or the whip stitch or whatever around the edge, you could do that. But for me tonight, I'm just going to use it exactly the way it came. I'll square it off if it needs to have that done, but I'm not going to sew around it because I didn't sew before this video started. Normally, I probably would have sewn around the cover. I can still sew around it after I sew my signature in, but it is much harder. And I would not recommend it, especially for beginners. If you want to sew around your quilt, do so now so that we can sew our signature in. So that's the thing with the quilt. But when you have the quilt piece, you don't really do anything else to it. The quilt, it has fabric on the outside, it has fabric on the inside, and that soft squishy batting in the middle. And so you don't need to line it with paper, you don't need to put cardstock in there, you don't need to do anything. It is meant to be a soft floppy quilt cover. And so that's kind of the cover we're using this time. We've done different cover styles every kit, and I think making a journal with a quilt at least one time is a good idea so that you have that tucked away in your mind of, oh, well, you know, maybe at some point you're going to make a journal and somebody is asking for a whole big bunch of pages and you are intimidated by making a journal with an actual spine, and you might think, well, maybe if I made a quilt journal, I don't have to worry about making a separate spine and how to attach all three pieces, your front cover, your back cover, and your spine together. A quilt cover is very good for that purpose. So anyway, just give it a try tonight and we'll see how you all feel about it as we move on. Okay, so thank you guys for the compliments on the quilt. They were super pretty when I was done putting them together. I was very happy with them as well. I think everything was pretty color coordinated and I think this is going to be a very easy journal to put together. That's my thought. We haven't started yet, but that's my thought. So I think it's going to be fairly easy and also fairly quick. So you can, once we're done tonight, your journal will be done. It's up to you how much more embellishing you want to do. If you want to fill it all with pockets and tags and things, then that's what we do for the rest of the series and build a cover topper. But even the cover topper, I gave you a postcard, which I already told you is going to be my cover topper more than likely. So you really, your journal cover is done. You could just slap that topper on there with some lace, the postcard, and you're going to sew in a signature. So you're really going to have a journal very quickly with this one. I see some weather issues. I hope you guys, hope you guys are safe there, staying safe there. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to flip the camera down. We're going to get started. Does anyone have any questions before I move the camera down? Does anyone have any general questions about making this journal? About the kits, about making this journal, about what we're doing here tonight? Before I move on, my videos will always be up. They'll always be up. So you could watch tonight and just hang out, and then you could play this later when you really wanted to sit down and make the journal. And then you can fast forward through the parts that I'm just babbling and you don't care about. And then you can get right to the point when you're, going through the steps of making the journal. A lot of people do it that way. That's probably honestly how I would do it. I might just sit down tonight and make some pretty ephemera while I'm hanging out with my friends in chat. And then when I was actually geared up and ready to make this journal, I would sit down and fast forward through all of my chatting and get to right down to the point of, okay, let's sew this in, or let's, what did she put there? How did she put her signature together? That kind of thing. Well, I'm glad you're here, Yvette. How are you using the lace? Well, there's several different pieces of lace in the kit. One of them is, I envisioned it going down the spine of the journal. So the one that I'll show you. There's one for the spine, one for, actually the other two are just for embellishing. So you can make them into pockets, you could embellish pages, you can do whatever you want with them. But really the only plan I had was for the one down the spine. The other lace, it's always up to you. I always give you enough to do whatever you want to do with them, but that's what I'm doing with mine. Are we ready to get started? I don't see any other questions coming in other than the lace. We'll definitely talk about the lace tonight too. Okay, I'm going to move the camera down and we're going to get started. There's where we're starting. There we go. Move my monitor over. Turn on my other light. It's going to get super bright in here today, apparently. The lighting is always different. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is all the talking I just did about a kit. You do not have to purchase a kit. To do this project with us, you can just use whatever supplies that you have. You never have to buy the kit to come and craft and hang out with us. You can use supplies you already have in your craft room. You can build a completely different themed journal. You can make like a super grungy Tim Holtz, whatever, I don't know, steampunk. If you want to do using all the same ideas, but just a different theme and a different color palette and whatever. So just know that you don't ever have to buy anything to hang out with us on Friday nights and do the project. Okay, I pulled some pages. These are pages I usually already have like things like this printed. So I'll start out with, this is a digital of mine. This is Roxy Creations. And I did use a lot of Roxy in here, and Ruby and Pearl. This is mine as well. And I thought this folded in half and this folded in half would make two nice journal pages in there. So there's that. I did print a whole big bunch of pre-made ephemera thingies. In truth, I always have these printed, but I printed a bunch of those because when we do get to ephemera making and decorating, these are the kinds of things that are quick to finish off. You can embellish them, and these ones will go nicely in the journal. So I printed a bunch of that. So that's extra printing. Then I have, whoop, knocking things over. I have these pages. This one is Ruby and Pearl. And then it is backed with, this one is Roxy. I think they're either Roxy and Ruby. So this one, see how they're just like generic. Like this could go in any journal though. It doesn't matter. This could go in any journal. There's nothing fairy about it. But if I want fairies, I can add fairies to this. And I think that's better for me because I want a very specific looking fairy if I'm going to use a fairy. Anyway, this is again Roxy. Then the back side of that, so Roxy and Roxy. But see, they're very, very generic. I can throw a fairy anywhere on here. I can put a pocket with a fairy on it. Totally fine. Goes perfectly. This one is Ruby, Ruby and Pearl. And that's Roxy. It's the same one. So I was deciding between the ledger and the one that I showed you. And then there's this one, and I think this one is going to be my center spread. So that one is Ruby. No, that one is Roxy. That one is Roxy. That one is Roxy. I just used very generic, floral, pretty, antique-y looking papers. This one is Roxy. This one is Roxy. And I like this one because of this little vine thing and these flowers. I think I don't like this. So I think I'm going to cover that up like something right there. Maybe a corner pocket. I don't know. But anyway, I think all of these can easily go fairy. This one is Ruby. And it's the other one to the pink one. So there's a pink and a green. And then we have on the back side of that, Roxy, Roxy and Ruby, but there's that. This one is a Ruby. This is a Ruby, and it's got hints of ledger. I don't know if we'll be able to keep that when we finally use it, but there it is. And on the back of that, we have Roxy, and this is Roxy. And again, very botanical for fairies. Perfect. And this is Roxy. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of Roxys and Rubies. Anyway, that's the printed digitals. They're all completely generic. They do not say anything specific other than there's hints of nature, flowers, shabby things, antique things, like, you know, the antique music back there, the antique little postal marks, wallpaper scraps, whatever. Very generic. I also have, this is a paper that was crumpled up by the mailman, and it's pretty bent up in places, but I think I'm going to be able to straighten it out enough to use it as pages. So this is the only one of these I had, and I'm going to use the ones that are crumpled, and I'm going to make pages out of those. So that's a page. The pink copy dyed paper you guys all got in the kit. It's part of the kit. It's copy dyed. I'm going to use a sheet of that. So the pink is definitely matching, going together. It looks lovely. So there's pinks. You all got a piece of this French ledger in your kit with the beautiful headers at the top. That's going in the journal. Then I haven't even gotten to the actual kits yet, but the kits are down here. I'm gonna stencil my paper bags tonight, and I'm gonna fold them and put them in the signatures. I need to stencil them to cover up the white. I don't want them copy dyed this time. I do want white sacks. So I'm going to stencil them with the stencil and some ink to kind of give them a pattern and decorate them, and then we can sew them in and then embellish and, you know, put fairies on them or whatever we want to do. But anyway, this is the add-in. So a doily, and this is the add-in. I do have some rag paper book pages in the kit, and I also found this one hanging around my desk, and I would like to put it in a journal, so I pulled that. I also pulled some handwritten papers, and I'm going to put some of those in my journal. And then stuff that came in the actual kit. Some of what I just showed you is in the kit, but so this is the later kit. So you got postcard and playing card. Some of the postcards look like that. Playing cards, they all have some kind of flower on them. They're just like a botanical playing card. It just matched naturally. That's kind of interesting. And then I'm missing a piece of lace out of this one because I ran out, but you all have this. This is just for cutting and embellishing. They're just little flowers. They have pearls on them, sequins on them. Just cut out each little flower and use it throughout your journal or ephemera to decorate with. This is the lace that's going down the spine of my journal. You can choose to use your lace however you want to use it. I'm just going to put it down the spine of my journal because on the quilt, it's going to be beautiful. This is quilt B, okay? This is the second quilt B. So that's that. On the inside, it's just kind of like this little pink pattern. But if you put lace down the spine, you're not going to use a double layer, but you know, you could put some pink lace here. You could put your postcard in the center. You could layer up some other lace. You could put some little flowers. There is a whole nother piece of gorgeous lace that is in the kit, and I don't have one in this room, but they're all in your kits. And you can finish off this. So this could be your journal cover. Very quickly done. I'm not saying it has to be. I'm just saying it could be. Okay, so there's that. I showed you the second quilt. Let's talk about what other pages came in your quilt or your kit. This is a vellum envelope made out of vellum, a long policy envelope. I'm going to run it through the embossing machine with embossing folders on it, and then I'm going to fold it in half and wrap it around a page in the journal, creating 2 pockets. That's what I'm using mine for. You use yours for whatever you want to. This is the glassine bag that we already did last Friday. We decorated glassine bags, or maybe I think it was a 365 video. But I already decorated my glassine bags, and I put fairies and book page and whatever on them and lace across the bottom. So they're already decorated. You got a journal card and a pocket. Most of the journal cards are green. This one happens to be yellow because I ran out of green. But anyway, you got a little journal card and a library card pocket. We're going to be playing with those. This was just too cute. It matched the theme, and I'm just going to fold mine up in a cute little way, and I'm going to put it in a pocket. This is an envelope with windows in it. You can leave these windows like this. You can cut them out into a big rectangle and put a different piece of acetate in there if you want one solid window. You could sew this into your signature and fold it up and make some kind of pocket. You can completely cover over the envelope part or the window part and not care about it, but there's a big envelope for you. This is the bag I already talked about. You got 2 paper doilies. This one is the one that I'm using for decorating and tearing it up. This one is the one I'm folding in half and sewing in my signature, and I might as well do that now because we need to. So I'm going to line it up so that you can see all the way through the holes for the most part, and I'm going to fold it in half, and that's going in my signature. This is the piece of ledger. This is the piece of ledger. So that's going in the signature. I already have one here that I'll pull. And you got book pages. These are rag paper book pages. All of these are going in the signature. This one I will fold in half this way and put it in the signature, but all of these go in. So right now I'm pulling the things out of this kit that I need to build the signature with. You did get some pages of, these are the stickers that come out of that the botanist sticker anthology. And so you got 2 pages. That's just for embellishing, just for playing with decorating journal cards, whatever. You did get some of the Florilegium book, a folio. That's going in my signature, so I'm putting it over there. The fairy journal pages, so the fairy pages you each got 2 of them. Some of them have fairy cutouts. Some of them have a gigantic fairy card on it. Some of them have these size cards on them. They're all different. These, for me, I could cut it out and make my topper. If I didn't like my postcard for my topper, I could cut this out and make it my topper. But I don't want to put these in as pages in my signature. They're embellishing or making ephemera from, not for me, for not putting in the signature. This is the botanical page. I am going to fold this in half, and I am going to put it in the signature. So let's go ahead and do that. There's that. This is the pink printed vellum that I did for you all. And so it is a beautiful soft shade of pink. I overprinted it with a French, what is this? A French, French document. Goodness, that was way too hard. A French document. So there's a French document, a handwritten document, digital, and I'm just folding this right in half and putting it in my signature, and I'll make sure whatever I put underneath of there looks nice with this over the top. These are my fairy digitals. I didn't put them in Etsy. I probably will at some point during the process of making this journal, but for now I didn't. I gave you guys the large size for journal cards, and I gave you also small size for focal points. So they're actually not as washed out. I have the light turned super, super bright today. But anyway, you get those in your kit. Those are just for ephemera. This is the pink coffee dyed page, and it's going in the signature, but I already have some pulled. Then there are coffee dyed pages, and those are going in my signature, so I'm going to pull those out. Then there's the music page, and that is also going in my signature, so I'm going to pull that out. And then in addition to all of that stuff, the little extras that I put in there, you all got a Florentine lined envelope. So this is actual Florentine paper back here. You can cut your envelope open and flip it around the other way if you want the Florentine paper on the outside. The actual envelope part is kind of like a watercolor paper. It's got a very nice texture, very high quality. So you got that. That can be sewn in the signature. If you want to sew this in the signature of your journal, you can. I don't know if I will or I won't, but I'm going to put it in that pile just in case. Then I gave you these little Tim Holtz things. So there's some sort of butterfly. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And I gave you some flowers. And so this one's a little hard to make this journal card, but the idea is that you got a Florentine journal card, and you could very easily turn that Florentine cardstock journal card into some sort of actual decorated journal card if you wanted to. Now you could add some book page back there or whatever, but everyone got a person, everyone got some kind of butterfly, and everyone got 2 flowers. Use it on this card or use it on something different. It doesn't really matter, but you did get a nice watercolor Florentine card. So there's that. That's ephemera. I'm not going to put it in the signature. You did get 1 page of this book because I already did a project last time we were together, I think, using this. You could use this as a journal card. You could put your little Tim Holtz people on that as well and do the same kind of a thing on there and decorate it up. But I've already done a project with mine. This could also be turned into a pocket if you wanted to turn it into a pocket. And this is just a random journal kit that I pulled out of the pile and used for my demonstration tonight, and I guess, you know, using bits and pieces out of it as I go. But that's the kit as it was. And then I pulled everything from here that I need for the signature. Let me show you the other quilt piece. The kit contents is the same. But let me show you that because some people will have this one. And so the postcards on the front were all different too. See, this one has some things in the back of it. But this one, see, this is a different example of the postcard. And I think this one for this quilt would look very nice as the topper. This is the piece of lace that I don't have in the other kit, but you all got. You all got this bridal lace looking kind of, I don't know, lace. And then the same flowers and the same one that I'm putting down the spine, the same pink one. And this is the original quilt. And it's more vintage looking, but I think, so this one, I'm using this one for myself because it has this little tear right here. So I'm going to use it and go ahead and cover that up and fix it. But when you got this quilt and also the other one, you need to look at it and decide which side you want for the front. Don't just look at it and think, oh, well, it opens this way, it has to be, this is the front. You could totally turn it around and make this the front if your heart is set on that being the front. But same thing, not all of them had this green fringe down here. It just depended on what part of the quilt that you got. This one happens to have it, but again, it's got that little slice down there. So I'm just going to layer this one up and show you basically the same thing that I showed you with the other one, where you'd have your pink lace there, you'd have your quilt, you'd have your postcard, something like this. I want to see more of the quilt. And then from there, you know, you could put your little flowers. Maybe you put them over there. Maybe it's just one. Maybe you put a big chunk of this going down the bottom down there and kind of decorate that way. Let me change the lighting just a little tiny bit because it is pretty washed out. That's better. So maybe you just snip off one chunk of this lace and put it right here on the front cover. Maybe you put a little bit, you know, cut it off here where a little bit of it is at the bottom, and then use some of that, like, you know, a little piece up here at the corner. So there's plenty of places to use all of the different laces. The pink one really is just for layering. Now you could use it as a page in your journal, but for me, it's really about layering, you know, a focal point on top of it, something like that. So there's the overview of the plan, at least my plan. Your plan will obviously be your plan, and you'll have to, you know, do whatever your creative brain is telling you to do. And if anyone here is looking for a kit at the moment, I don't think I have any. However, there are 3 or 4 that are still waiting to be paid for. If those ones do not get paid for, then those 3 or 4 will be available. I will let you know on Tuesday. So if you have an invoice for a kit out there and you haven't paid for it by Tuesday, I will resell it to someone else. I feel like we've waited a couple weeks now, and we're already we'll be halfway, almost 3/4 of the way through the journal. So if you still didn't pay for your kit, we might as well just let somebody else have it who, you know, is waiting for it. So that's the deal with the kits. That's where we're at, and we'll keep going. So I have a pile of things that I said was going to go in a signature, and we have these for the digitals. Actually, it's these for the digitals. And all of this other stuff over here. Before I can assemble my signature, I have to stencil those bags. So what I would suggest is squaring off your quilt. If you're not stenciling your bag with me right now, square off your quilt and get that part ready to go. Square off your quilt cover and get that part ready to go, and we're going to stencil some bags. I'll just stencil one, but know that in the end I will have stenciled 3 of them because I make 3 journals. I'm going to make 3, but I might stop making 3 fully embellished ones at some point, depending on how much time we have, right? So I'm going to grab my chair, and we're going to stencil this bag. It's not super inventive or anything like that, but it is necessary. The other thing that is necessary is I need something to cover my work desk with. Give me just 1 minute while I grab a piece of parchment paper to stencil with. Maybe you want to grab your stencil brush, and maybe you want to grab some inks. I brought in Victorian Velvet, Tattered Rose. These are the inks, not the oxides. Bundled Sage, Shaded Lilac, and Iced Spruce. It's kind of like as close to Tim Holtz did as pastels as he does. So I brought those. And I will grab a stencil and something to cover my work surface with. And I'll be right back. Uh-huh. Alrighty. So I like to use parchment paper. This is what I use my glue stick on instead of glue book pages. Parchment paper is perfect. It lasts forever and forever before you have to replace it. It is also great to cover your other work surface so you're not like getting ink everywhere or glue everywhere or whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm using to cover my surface with, and that's what also the same thing I'm going to glue on here in a minute. And then we need some stencils. I already know which one I'm using. Just need to find it. So stencils I keep right here on a ring, kind of like Tim Holtz does, but mine is an actual ring, and he has like a wiry ring. So these are my stencils, the ones I have in here. I have a binder of other ones. I keep them on a 3.5-inch ring, and it clips to the edge of my craft cart. And the one that I want to use is this guy. Keeping with that very floral, kind of pretty floral theme. This one is called, it has a number somewhere. THS 143 Bouquet. It's called Bouquet. It looks like this. Bouquet. Okay, that's the one I'm using tonight. And we are just going to grab a baby wipe because of course we're going to need one of those. There's that. Once I stencil this, I'll just fold it in half and put it in the journal. What are you guys talking about? Tree seeds? Talking about some kind of seeds. What's going on out there in Chatland? What kind of seeds are we talking about? All right, so if I fold this in half before I stencil, I might get that little like line. So I'm not going to fold it in half until after I stencil it. And I'm just going to start stenciling on the left and move it over as far as I need to go. I could stick some tape on here, but honestly, it doesn't matter that much, so I'm not even going to bother with it. I think I want to use Victorian Velvet, but I might want to use Tattered Rose. Let me try Tattered Rose first and see how we're feeling about that. Let's see how we feel about that. Guess we'll keep that over here. And I've just got it lined up right on the edge as far as I can see it. It's pretty flat, and we're going to give that a try. Yeah, that's okay, but I do think I want the Victorian Velvet. We'll get some of this on there. And then we'll go in with Victorian Velvet and get some of that. Okay, so that's what we got. I know you guys can't see too terribly much, but that's what we got. It's pretty. It's pretty. I'm going to go over just a little bit with the Victorian Velvet. Victorian Velvet has always been my favorite. So I'm going to line it back up right there. And we're going to go back, and I'm not even going to bother changing, cleaning, whatever. It doesn't matter. These are my pink purple, so it's all good. Okay. And there we go. Much better. More, it's a pink purple, but I like it better. Now having that pink underneath there, you know, it is what it is. It'll change a little bit as we go. So there's that. You can see it a lot better too. And I do actually like the two together. So that's an idea. Okay, so for the next one, I don't want to just slide it straight over. I want to slightly shift it. It doesn't really matter where you shift it to, but just shift it a little bit. and then begin. And you don't cover, at least I don't, cover the whole entire stencil. Just do bits and parts of it. You can get a little brush over, but don't worry about filling in the whole entire thing. Hit the parts that matter to you, like those flower centers or something like that, and then just let the rest go. And there's that one. And then for this one, we really should have turned it upside down. We'll turn it upside down on this one. And there we go. And we can come back in with that pink just to get the three panels to match each other a little better. These makeup brushes do really a good job on this. There are nice stencil brushes too though. So there's that, and I do like it flipped upside down. That was great. Wish I would have done it in the center one, but who cares? And now I want a little more of this. So we're gonna line this back up. And there it is. And I'm going to pick back up that color. Be a little harder to do. I don't care about a little contamination, whatever. It does not bother me. They're both pinkies, pinky colors, so I'm good with it. Your stencil moves a little bit, still all good. There's that. Like it very much. Pick up a little more of that, and we'll go back here in the middle. And then I think we have enough ink on this stencil, we might be able to spray some water and get like a little print off of it. There we go. So our bag is covered on this side. Now we have this edge right here, and the edge I don't really want to be white, so just very quickly I'm just going to kind of get what I get here and just do a little on the edge, the little flap. There we go. Perfect. And we're on to this side. Now when we decorate it, you know, if it's going to look different, but I still want this in the background on both sides. So now I'm doing the pink color, and there really isn't too much of the Victorian velvet in this at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and do the whole entire bag, flipping it upside down in the center, and then I'll come back and do the Victorian velvet over it. I mostly hit the centers of the flowers, and we'll just kind of get what we get there. And there's that. And let's do one more here. And I do slightly overlap just because I don't want to get a white line. And it moved a little. No big deal. There's that. And I'm just going to hit just the edge here with something. There we go. Okay. Now back to this way. Back to the other color. No, you really didn't need to be that fussy, but I just like the two colors together after we did it. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Was this way? Yes, it was this way. Yep, just that extra little kiss of pink. Perfect. You could also print your bags. If you ran it through the printer, you could print them, and then you wouldn't have to stencil them. You could use a printed bag. I don't really care for too many of the printed bag designs, but maybe you have one that you like and is nice and all of that kind of stuff, and it'll work. A little bit trouble finding this guy. Probably because he goes this way. Maybe. No. If all else fails, you're just gonna, like, if you have trouble and I've tried for a few minutes, it doesn't really matter. If you can't line it back up again, it doesn't really matter. Just get some color on it and you're good. And I had a little bit of a line there, and I'm just blending some over to get out some of that white, and we're good to go. I'll blend this edge. You could ink the whole entire thing right now while we have it here. You're going to cut some of this off and use it to open up a pocket anyway. So you might have a little more inking to do later, but not a big bunch, not a terrible amount. Okay, good to go on that side. We'll hit the top up here with that. A lot of trouble for a little bag. I don't know. What was that? Really, in truth, it could have been 5 minutes, maybe. And then I'm just using the rest of the ink that's on this brush just to get it out of there, really. But, you know, I want a pink bag. And I have a pink bag. Cool. We're done. Now, set that off to the side for a moment. If it was just me and I was making 3, obviously I would make all 3 of my bags. But for the sake of saving some time, we're just going to make the 1 bag stenciled. I would like to see if I can print something on this. Let me see what I have here. I usually have some cardstock or watercolor card offcuts or something laying around here. I have some file folder. Let's use some file folder. Okay, grab this. And we're just gonna spritz our stencil a little bit and see what we can get printed onto that. And we in fact did get, I don't know if you guys can see, a pretty cute little pink background. Pink floral background. You can't really see it too well. But anyway, it is there and it's pretty cute. Maybe we'll cut it up and use it as like a tag or something later. Set it off to the side to dry. And the bonus of doing that is my stencil is just about clean. My fingers are another story, but just about. Do you need to clean your stencils? That's entirely up to you. There's arguments for cleaning them and there's arguments for not cleaning them. I'm glad you guys see it. I do have the light turned up a lot today because the camera, it has been super, super dark. I don't know what the issue is, but it has been. So I turned up the brightness, which does kind of white things out a little bit, but not a problem. So then my stencil is going to go right back in here because I have thrown away so many of these stencils. The small ones like this, I accidentally throw them away. They get mixed into something and I think it's trash because it's feather, you know, it's super light. And I accidentally throw them away. So anyway, I always put it right back. And then we're good to go. We did that. I could have done any of these colors. I could have blended some green in there. I'm keeping those out for this project because I want to do something else with them later. There's my stencil brush and we're good to go. So now, I'll flip that over just so I don't get any ink on anything. Where is my quilt pieces? Let me grab a quilt piece. Oh, the water thing, Tim Holtz always does that, or I guess not always, but a lot. All right, let's start by using this one. Let's start by using this guy. And so, for squareness, he's got like some little wrinkles, but he's pretty square. Might need to stretch him a little bit just to get him more square, but he's pretty square, but he's too big. For me, he is a little bit too big. I'm looking for something a little smaller. Like you might want to square off a little bit of the corner there. We'll see. But measurement wise, I think he's too big. He's 7 by 11 1/4. I would recommend that you do maybe 6.5. 7's okay, really. I don't know. It depends on how chunky you're going to make your signature. But the 11.25, when you fold a paper in half, when you fold a digital in half, this is how big he's going to be. I keep taking away all my space. So if the largest sheet is like 9 by 12, be slightly bigger than this. But see, you have a lot of room there in your cover. So you can shorten him, but don't make him too short because your pages are going to come out and all that kind of stuff. You have space, you have quilt, you can do whatever you want. For me, I'm probably going to go ahead and make him a little bit smaller. I'm going to leave him width-wise, I'm going to leave him where he's at, but I am going to trim a little bit off the bottom. Just to not have so much quilt hanging out down there. I would recommend that you use a rotary cutter and a ruler if you have one. If you do not have one, then you're just going to cut. You're going to put, and the reason why I'm cutting the bottom is because you're going to put lace down there at the bottom more than likely anyway. So if something is going to be uneven or not cut straight or whatever, the bottom of it, you're going to have lace. So it's not going to be as noticeable as if your top is crooked. So that's a little bit better looking. It's a little bit better size wise. You have some fun little quilt strip that you can use for something else. Maybe you want to make part of a closure or something out of it. I don't know. Maybe it's just part of a snippet roll that you make later, but there is a little bit of quilt piece left. So there's that. I'm going to put him in this box of fabric scraps. Okay. As far as squaring it off, I think I'm fairly good. The thing is this piece, if I go with this for my front, this has a finished seam right here, because this was the seam of the edge of the quilt. So if you have a finished seam, it might be better to have it as the front. It doesn't really matter to me which part of the quilt is the front as far as pattern goes because they're both beautiful. But I do think I would like that finished seam in the front. Or would I like it in the back? Well, figure out which one you want in the front and in the back. Maybe it's better to have it in the bottom. I guess because you're going to slide it around in the back. Maybe it's better to have it in the back. I don't know. Don't really care. And I don't care whether these go up or down because honestly, I don't think it matters. So to me, I guess we can move forward with this as the front. When it's all decorated up, don't worry that it has to be exact. Don't worry about that because when it's all decorated up and full, you're going to have a big bubble in here in the center and you're going to have page edge lace anyway. So don't worry about it being exact. Just cut it as square as you can visually cut it and don't make it too small if you are going to do some trimming. Okay. Can I measure again or was this question up there before? My quilt right now is 7 inches wide by about 10 inches, just a little hair over 10. Usually I will cut the cover to 10 by 13. Usually it is 10 inches high and 13 inches wide before it's folded. This is just a little bit bigger. I gave you guys all generous pieces because it might need trimmed here or there or wherever. And some of you want a bigger spine. Some of you might want to use 9 by 12 papers. Somebody might want to use much bigger papers. So you got a big enough quilt piece for a cover. You can have whatever kind you want. So this guy is probably dry enough to fold. At least he's getting dry. So I'm going to go ahead and fold him in half and get him ready to go into the signature. We're going to start building that signature now. There's that. It's already looking so beautiful. And see, we didn't need any kind of specific digital. Not at all. Okay, so we have one page. What is this page? That's that page. We have an inclusion. So there's that. An inclusion are the little pieces of stuff, fun stuff that we put in the journal. Let me get this chair out of the way. It's too much. Okay, so I need to start assembling my piles of journal pages. So I'm going to set these over here for just a minute. And we're going to start folding things and assembling them into categories. I've done this with you guys if you've been here for a while many times, and you know that I like to put my papers into categories. I have coffee dyed paper, and it doesn't matter if it's lace coffee dyed or regular plain coffee dyed. Coffee dyed is a category. Digitals is a category. So I'm going to start assembling and folding all of my papers. This is a sheet of Florentine paper. It's the one I showed you in the beginning. He's pretty big and he's pretty crooked right here. Height-wise, he's fine. Length-wise, he's fine. I am going to straighten him out, and I'm going to take a little bit off. So size your paper as best as you can to fit in there. A torn edge is fine. And I got a scrap. So this can be a page. I don't want it to stick out over my journal. So I'm going to fold it like this with a little flip or a tuck or whatever it is over here. So this is a page, but it's a kind of a specialty page. It's not a digital, it's not a copy dyed, it's like a specialty, so it's going over there in a third category. The next thing that I need to do, you guys, you already have ledger that is sized to the correct size. My ledger is not sized to the correct size, so I'm going to size it right now. Let me just start with the exact same size you guys have. You guys have half a sheet with the headers and fancy stuff at the top. So I'm going to make mine half a sheet. These ledger pages are ginormous. They come out of those big green suede ledgers that you guys see behind my head back there. So right now he measures a little over 10, so he will be too tall to put in this way, and he would fit widthwise. So I think what we should do is maybe fold him up and make him a little pocket. Maybe make him a little pocket right there. And it doesn't matter, just try to line up your edges on the side, and that will make it straight across. That's perfect. We're good. And then for this way, I'm just going to guess about where I want that to be and fold it there. It's very thick paper. And then this one will fold in. So I folded in a pocket right here, and I folded in a little flippy thing right there. And that's going to go in my signature. And that's a specialty piece. So that goes over there. Do I have everything out of this pile yet? Let me see. What did I do with... already lost things. What did I do with the doily and the vellum piece? Did I gather them? No, I put them up here. Like, did I put them back in the kit? The inclusion is in its own category over here. The rag paper pages are in their own category over there. I do want a page of this. Some kind of pretty handwriting. So we need to pick a page of this. This is a antique handwritten document from Spain. And in Spain, they have very fancy calligraphy, like the French things that we love. I just need to figure out which one I want. This one is very nice. Let's see if there's one that's easier to get a page out of. All right, so I'm going to pull a page out of this. It's bound over here on the side with string. I need to unbind this so that I can take a page out. Need my tiny little ledger scissors for this job. So I do like to put basically the same formula of pages in every journal that I make. It varies slightly depending on the actual theme or whatever, but I like to put a piece of original ledger in every journal. I like to put a piece of music paper, not a digital, but actual music paper in every journal. We'll go through that together as we pull them. So there's those. This, if we put it in, it would be in the inclusion portion. Here's the original, this is vintage music paper. And I need to see how wide this is. I think this is 9 by 12, so it'll be okay. You can fold it in half. You don't have to fold it in half. You can fold it any way you want. That goes in specialty. This guy here, he is like an A4 size. I'm going to fold him in half. He looks awfully wide like that. He's just wider than normal because I have some room there. So I'm going to fold him in half. And of course that goes in specialty. So we talked about, I like to put original ledger. I like to put music. I like to put handwriting if I can. If I can afford, whatever the cost of it. If I can afford to put original handwriting, I do. If I can't do original handwriting, I will do something like this where it is handwriting, but it is a print of handwriting. The vellum piece would also go in the specialty category. Our regular copy dyed pages, do I want those ones or do I want something that's a little bit lighter, less grungy? No, it's not really lighter. Let's go ahead and use these two. So copy dye, I always fold in half and they go in the copy dyed category. This one's a little grungier than I would have. Normally I would choose the copy dye to match what I'm doing, but whatever, grungy is fine. We're gonna do it. So, and I probably need another copy dyed anyway. We'll see, but I probably do. Let's see what I have for a lighter copy dye. This guy, he's lighter, less grungy. So I have 3 regular copy dye and I have 1 pink copy dye. And that's my copy dye category. This is book page, even though it is a botanical, it is book page and it goes in the book page category. This is book page and it goes in the book page category. These are both book page, of course, going in the book page category. This is my inclusion. It's a specialty thing. It doesn't fit in any other category. It goes there for inclusions. This goes folded in half and it's a book page, so it goes in book page category. So what else do I like to put in the journal signature? Some type of piece of original ephemera would be nice. If you have like a French receipt or invoice or something like that, that would be nice. I have the rest of the digitals here. So we put this digital in. I'm going to go ahead and fold all of these and we are going to see how we like them. And I always just start folding them in half. And then as I'm assembling the signature, if I want something folded the other way, then I do it. Right now, I don't know what's going to look nice next to what yet. So I'm just going to start out by assuming and folding, and we'll go from there in the end when we assemble our signature. If you want to fold them into a different way where you have like a little flip out or something, then, go ahead and do that. I just start in half and kind of work my way around. I don't usually do too many strange folds when I'm doing the journal assembly. If I want to add a little tuck or a little flip out, I generally do that with a separate piece of ephemera later on. So I can use this one or I can use the other one with the digital. I'm not sure which one yet, but for now we put that one in there. And we'll go over the total number of pages as we do it as well. Any questions out there? Anybody have questions? Anything I didn't talk about or discuss as far as signature goes? What is Kendall looking for? Or Sherry looking for? So these are the two that I think I want to put in instead of the other two just to break it up. It was looking very similar. And so I think I would like to include these two. This is the watercolor from my shop. This one is not in my shop yet, but I will put it in there. The whole digital is made. It just needs put into Etsy. I will put it in there. I guess was slacking. I don't know. I've never had enough time for anything. And then this is all the printed ephemera. So that doesn't need to go in a signature. So I think I have narrowed this down. I think I have narrowed this down to including these two instead of these two. I think this is the same. Yes, this is the same as that. And this is the same as, no, this one. That's the same as that one. And this is the same as this one. Yes. Okay. So these two can go in a different journal, and I'm going to try to put these two in here just because we were looking very Italian. This part isn't, but these three, I'm good with three. I just didn't want to overdo it. So anyway, I did mix it up just a little bit there. In total, right now, before I even begin to assemble, I have 8 printed digital pages. And I will tell you guys, these are printed on the Epson EcoTank. Mine is the 3650, I think. I can link it for you guys if you want to know, but this is the EcoTank printer, and it prints borderless. So these are all 8 of them, borderless, double side printed. So that's where those came from. So 8 pages there. Technically, this is 9, even though normally I wouldn't count it. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pages. 14, 15, 16, 17 pages. Normally I do not count any of these because they're super thin and different sized and whatever, but just for the sake of this, we had 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't know if we had 16. I forget. You guys will tell me. 16, 17, 18, 19 pages. If I counted correctly, we have 19 pages, although I know we can fit all of this and more in the quilt cover. I'm not stressed about it. I never count the inclusions. So as of this moment, we have these 3 things. I'm not sure if that envelope's going in there yet. I'll have to look and see where I can fit it to see if it matches enough and is color coordinated enough and all that stuff. Plus, I may want to stencil something over it. While it has a lot of pattern and color here, it does need decorated and I might stencil it. So we'll see about that. All right, I think we're good. I didn't see any questions, so we're good. There's my quilt cover that I keep losing. Let's just hang on to that for a minute. And then Let's talk about reinforcing these pages because I usually forget to do that while I'm live with you guys. So let's talk about reinforcing those. The old book pages, you know, it's best to reinforce them. Is it the end of the world if you don't reinforce them? No. But the worst thing that can happen is they can come out, they can tear out of your book, your journal. So if you're going to put old book page in, like this is 1700s and 17 and 18. Most of this I think is 1700s. This might be 18. This is definitely 17 or earlier. But anyway, if you're going to put old book page in and you're going to put the folios, this is a folio. It used to be sewn into a book. That's why there's holes back there, because I took out the whole folio, meaning it's still connected in the center, but there's an awful lot of holes in there. You can sew this right into your journal, but it might rip out because now you're adding additional holes and you're sewing it in. So if you don't reinforce it, it could come out. I would never, ever, under any circumstance, add a pocket to any type of old book page. I don't add pockets to those ever. They're usually just in the journal, just like this. Now, the new owner can add a pocket if they want. If you are going to add a pocket, do not add cardstock and do not put a big heavy piece of ephemera in there. While they're rag paper and they're super sturdy, that's not what they're intended for really in a journal. They're just to give you that old feel. You can, this is rag paper. It has a tooth to it, a texture. They're really not for pockets, but anyway, this is this one. You can see it's got quite a big hole there, little piece of loose paper. So we're going to reinforce these because I sell my journals and I don't want to sell something that might come out. Anything that's like this that you folded in half, you really don't have to reinforce this. It doesn't have a bunch of holes in it. It hasn't already torn a bunch. I think this is fine to not reinforce, but these old ones I would reinforce. These ones that are newer, this is out of the Florilegium book. If it's torn really bad, I would reinforce it. This one, I might reinforce right here just because it does have quite a big tear. This one is just folded in half, so I don't need to reinforce it. So let's go ahead and get quickly to reinforcing. What you're going to want for reinforcing, for those of you that haven't seen me do this before, is whatever glue stick you like. I like the Oohoo Magic Glue. This is my favorite. It works really well. This is the big 1.4 ounce size. And you're going to want some type of clear medical tape. This is clear paper tape. I've linked it before for you guys. I get it on Amazon. It's like $4 or something for 1 or 2 rolls. It goes a long way. But this, when you glue it onto your page, it disappears. You don't see it. That's why I use it. You could also use washi tape, although washi tape is not as strong as this. And washi tape has pattern. It's brand new. It doesn't look old. Like, I like this. But you use whatever you want or use what you have. One way or the other, it'll be fine. Okay. So, good night, RV. Was an RV here? Somebody's happy for Alice. Good, Alice. Welcome home, Alice. Oh, Alice, I'm so glad you're home from the hospital. That's amazing. From RV to crafts. Fun name. Okay. So we're gonna do some reinforcing quick. I'm gonna start with my smallest page. I'm gonna get my glue. We'll do this as quick as we can here. It's really just about gluing some tape down. You could also use just a piece of paper, like an offcut of coffee dyed paper or the offcut edge of another book page. Anything that you want to glue in here to reinforce that and make that stronger. I'm going to go ahead and put the glue right down in the center today. I don't feel like I need to use my finger and get it in the glue. So all of this glue dries clear. You don't really need to be super whatever about it. Just put some glue on there. Kind of ran out of workspace here. Put some glue in there. I don't want my pile to fall everywhere. Put some glue in there. You're going to take your medical tape. This is just paper medical tape, and you're going to put it down the center of that as best as you can for center. I didn't quite get center because I moved it away from my face, but you get the idea. We're going to put it down there, centering it. The glue is going to dry clear. You're not going to worry about it. I don't need to reinforce both sides. You can if you want to, but you do not have to. And we're just going to cut it off, even with the edge of our page. Wrong scissors for that. I never use adhesive on those scissors. Never ever. Those are my ledger taking apart scissors. So then just set that to dry for a second. I usually do put it down both sides, but you really don't need to. And because I'm live right now, we're not gonna. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't reinforce at all, so we're already ahead of the game. I think most professional sellers of journals do reinforce just because, you know, if you do all the hard work and, you know, make a beautiful journal and all that, you want the person who buys it to be happy and it to be like safe and secure. You know, you don't want any problems with it. So I think that's why people who sell their journals do, and most people who just make a journal for themselves skip the step, because to them it's their own journal. If their page comes out, you know, they can deal with it. They can glue it back in, make it a tip in, whatever. But that's kind of my 2 cents on why some people do and why some people don't. And then just cut that tape off. And notice that the book page is kind of wrinkled in the center here. It's from being put in that book and folded its whole life. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat when you do this. I'm like, this isn't the tape I was using. This is the tape I was using. Don't worry about it. Just flatten it out as best as you can when you put your tape on. So like right there, I put the tape on, and then I'm just going to smooth it as best as I can. Those little wrinkles that are in there, you're going to sew this into your signature and you're not really going to see those wrinkles at all anyway. So just like that, we've reinforced 3, and we need to get this 4th one reinforced. Again, you don't really even have to, but it's here and we're doing it, and there is quite a big hole right there, and I would hate for that to come out, so we're just gonna do it. Florentine paper. Have you guys already started getting your Florentine paper? I never know. Some of you guys are super close to me and it probably did get there. Florentine paper is super fun to craft with, and it does make, it is a nice sturdy weight. It does make excellent journal pages. You just stand alone, and it's such an interesting texture on the inside because it's laid paper that you don't even have to like stencil inside or whatever. It's not white. It's a nice creamy kind of vintage looking paperback anyway. So there's that. Get it on Monday. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Who is expecting their first shipment of Florentine paper ever? Who is a Florentine newbie? Anybody in here a Florentine newbie? And so you normally would let these dry, but I'm just going to go ahead and get them folded back so that we can continue. So normally I let them dry flat, but just fold them back. So I added this additional paper right here into mine because it's been floating around my desk and it needs to go in a signature. I saved it for that purpose, but it just keeps escaping. Okay, so there's those. Notice how everything in my piles is aligned from smallest on top to the largest piece on the bottom. I like to work that way specifically. I think it helps. You know, when you come to a spot in a journal and you're like, okay, well, I want this there, whatever. I like to think of it as far as size goes, to have that staggering coming in and staggering going out of the journal. So small pages in the beginning, getting larger and larger and larger until you have your full size pages. I like to mix up the page size throughout the journal, but specifically that small going in and small coming out the back as well, because that's just naturally what happens with a signature, right? So there's that. We have our categories. They're all right there. We are ready to assemble a signature. We have plenty of pages to play with. If we want something else, now's the time to get it, because once your signature is sewn in, you're done. So I'm going to just see where this could go and see if I can find a spot for it. But everything else on this desk, I think, is for sure going in there. Florentine newbie, awesome, awesome, awesome. Marcella, awesome, guys. And Sherry. I will have more Florentine paper in a couple more weeks. I ordered another big order because I know so many people didn't get it last time. So I will definitely have more in a couple of weeks. And I hope when it comes in a couple of weeks, I will have enough for everyone to get pretty much everything they wanted. I won't say everyone will get everything, but I think we will have a much better chance of fulfilling everybody's orders next time. All right, so let's get this guy started. I know that the most important thing to me is the first page that you see, the first journal page that you see in the front and the middle spread. So I already know the middle spread, I want those girls. This one. I believe this is what I want in my middle spread. In pretty much every journal, if I can fit it into the theme, in every journal, I pretty much always do some type of vintage fashion ladies. This image is out of like a Godey's or La Mode or something like that. So I always, as long as it goes with the theme, or I can fit it in there, do an image like this. And this one is just kind of perfectly laid out for the center. So I'm going to save this page for the center and set it off to the side. The next thing that I want to think about is that first page when you open up the journal. So when you have your cover here and you open up your journal, what do I want to see here? So oftentimes I will put it just like this on my desk with the cover, and I will start looking like what goes with the inside pattern of the quilt, what looks nice in there. I'm just kind of, laying it out like they're all going to match this because it's neutral enough, but what would we like to see in the beginning? Like this is maybe. I think the other two were a little better. I don't really like that one there, so I'm going to move that to the back. I don't really like that one. That one is not enough for me. This one is nice, but I think we have better options here. So I'm thinking one of these three. So I'm going to set those to the side while I play with these three. And I know that I want to put book page as my very first page here. And I think we could put that there. It does cover up quite a bit of those roses, but you get the idea. You can kind of see behind them. You've got your paint little swatches back there in the back. I think we're going to go with this. I will quickly audition these other ones. I mean, there isn't an ugly one, so there's that. And this is just very, very soft and pretty. I think it's that or this one. And I really do like the book page going over the paint swatches, so I'm going to choose that one. So this is my first page. That's the first thing you're going to see when you open up the journal. And now I want to layer something in between this page and this page's size. So something that falls out here just a little bit bigger than this little page. I don't want to cover up all the way of my roses, but I do want to cover up some and have a third page here, at least a third page. Now, if any of these are not the right size, if they're going to cover up too much, then I will find some other element to stick in there. But for now, let's kind of look and see what we have. So all of those are going to be like, that's a maybe. I don't know if I want back-to-back book page, but let's see. Usually I put a piece of music here, and I think I am going to put a piece of music there because this would look like this. You would not see any roses. So therefore, I need a separate little piece of music paper to complete my little stagger. So I'm looking at this, and I want something that's a little bit bigger that goes there. So let me see if I can find some music that I can tear down to fit into that little section. And I have a huge pile that I always work from on the left of me over here. And I just, I have a bunch of random pieces of stuff over there. So I have plenty of options. More Florentine paper popping out. So let's try to find something that fits here. Like that would fold up and fit nicely in there. I would like something a little different color, but any of these are the right size. Maybe that one, or maybe that one. Okay, moving on. Let's kind of tear these down and see what we think. This guy, he just has a little torn corner here. Okay, so if I'm going to use this, I need it to show. And I can see that if I folded it directly in half, all that would show would be the white edge. So I need to fold this a little bit differently to get it to show. I'm going to use this side, and I'm going to fold it a little farther over. So I'm going to take my rose page and just kind of work with it and fold it when it's in the right position. It's honestly a little bit too short, but I still think I can make it work. I like it right about there. You get the rose peeking out of the top, you get the leaves over on the side. So let's kind of play with it here. I'll fold it back just a little bit more, give it a fold. Notice that the back is smaller than the front. I'm okay with that. I like the torn edge, and I would like to tear the rest of it, but let's just kind of see how it's going to look in there. It's okay. I do need a torn edge right here. So let's go ahead and accomplish that quick. We don't need this quilt for a second, but I do need a work surface. So I'm going to tear this edge just ever so slightly to get a rough edge. The back one already has a rough edge. This is vintage, so it's going to tear how it tears. I don't really care as long as at the end I have a rough edge. If you have a tear ruler, you can do that. I don't like the tear rulers. I've never found one that works right and gives me the look I'm after. If I wanted, a more straight edge, I would just use a ruler and tear it. Oops, and that's okay too. That just happened. And so let's tear off the top too, just a little bit. But anyway, I'm having a hard time finding a tear ruler that I actually like the way it tears. I think some of them tear too jagged and some of them tear like too straight. So I know that there are videos out there that you can take an iron and melt a ruler, like a plastic ruler, and make your own tear ruler. And perhaps we will do that. And I'll figure it out and do it in a video for you guys. But I just tear it by hand and it seems to work just fine too. I would have liked to have kept my page number, but it tore off. So that's what that looks like. And I think I might position it where there's a little gap at the bottom and gap at the top. And there we go. I like that pretty good. So I'm going to leave that and we're going to go into one more page in. And now is where we start, assembling the rest of this. So let's go back to where I was with my piles. And I have digitals over here. And I want to keep it to kind of where you guys can see. Anyway, we open up to a digital. I'm going to try my hardest to get it to where you guys can see it. We open up to a digital. You're going to want to put something other than another digital in here. So we're going to start layering our pages. but you don't want digital next to digital. You have to be coffee. You can put a specialty. You could put another book page, but we just have one right here. So I don't think we want to do that. I might go ahead and get that ledger right in there, right in the front. I like the colors with everything we have going on here. We have the blue, we have the blue, we have pink, we have pink. So I might just put that right there. Plus, it's bigger and it's going to stick out the edge right in that front of that journal. So I think that's what I'm doing. So let's move one more page in. So now we're here. And I'm keeping them all lined up here in the center, you know, as much as I can. Right here, I don't want to put a coffee dye because I want to put a coffee dye here, but I don't want to put it here because it's just too bland. I could put the pink one there, but I don't want to do that either. I think we're going to put the Florentine here, but we might want to put a book page or something in between, or I might want to just go ahead and put a digital there. Let's see how the Florentine looks closed up, because I believe it will peek out the top of it too. Okay, let's go ahead and do a digital. We need to get these digitals in, so let's go ahead and do a digital. This is all how you like it. It doesn't really matter. You know, the way I'm doing mine isn't the way that you're going to do yours anyway. So, you know, you can make it exactly like me, but you're more than likely going to make it the way that you want yours to look. So I'm going to pick something that has pink that goes with this blue. And that's good. So now we're here. I have digitals and I have copy dye. We definitely have to get a copy dyed in here. So we're just going to go plain copy dye because we want to spread out our stuff as evenly as we can in our signature. So there's the copy dye. Normally I get a doily right up here in the front somewhere. Let's go ahead and put this doily right around this copy dyed page. I like to keep the doily in the front. I think it's more safe and secure since it is so fragile. I think it's better in the front. So there's that. Doily there. Now we need another digital or one of these specialty or whatever, but I'm just going to go digital for now. And because we have copy dyed, I'm just going to try to pick something that is like my copy dye, something that looks good with my copy dye. And basically all of them will because, you know, I printed digitals that coordinate together. I think maybe we'll do this one. We're going to do this one. Okay, so there's that. Now I've done digital. I'm trying to get it in camera and keep my pile separate. It's not working out real well for me, but I'm not going to give up on it. Okay, so we have some botanical pages back here. We have this one and we have somewhere, we have another one. We have this one. That's a little busy. We need to do a botanical very soon here. What if we did this here? Is that too crazy? That might be too crazy. How about book page? Just some nice book page there. I'm going to do that book page. It's a little older looking. It kind of goes more with the page, so I'm going to do that one. Now we need to do that botanical. Either that one or let's do this one. Nope, let's do this one. My pages are becoming very fluid, or my piles are becoming very fluid as I try to keep it on camera for you guys. Okay, so there's botanical. Now we have a blank slate. We can put whatever we want in here. We have this pile of digitals, so we need to do digital. And honestly, I'm going to do a big pocket back here, so something that has a lot of pattern in the digital, because the pocket is going to cover half of a page. So that puts these two out. And I think maybe we're going to do this guy. Has a lot of pattern, a lot of color. I like it. Let's do it. Okay, so right here, we're going to want coffee dyed, but maybe we do the pink one. I think we do the pink one there. And we might want to do book page or something else. We want it like that. Perhaps it doesn't look bad. I like the black frame with the black stuff over here. So let's do that for now. Here, let's get this music page in. Then let's do this guy. Beautiful. Here, I have these pages left, and I want to do this, but I think it's crazy. It might just be too much, but it might be the right amount of crazy. I don't know yet. Maybe these two. I can't leave myself handwriting and handwriting, though. We have to have something else there. Let's go with it, and then I might swap it out. Because this is what I like, but I'll be left with too much handwriting. Okay, so there's that. Now we're back to needing a digital or coffee dye or something. I'm going to go coffee dye here and a digital. I don't want to have plain and plain, so I need to put a digital here. We have this guy, and we have this guy. I'm going to do this one. Unless this would look better with that. Perhaps, but whatever. It's there. We're doing that. And we're doing that. I have one digital left. I have one coffee dye, and I have two handwriting and a book page. So let's do, oh, I have the extra digital. I have the center digital. We're okay. So if we do this guy here, that actually looks pretty good with this grungy or coffee dye. Let's do that. Then let's do my handwriting. Then we're going to have this. See, I have too much handwriting close together. I do. Hold on one second. Let's put the coffee dyed in there because it has to go in there. We know this is our center spread, so the center spread is in. Now let's put this book page here, or we could put this here. Let's see how it looks. It's pink. I don't know if I want it there. Is it too much, or is it just the right amount? I think it's the right amount, so we're going to do it there. That's okay. Do we want the book page in between, though? No, we want the flowers. Okay, fine. There we go. Let's put the book page here and break that up. And now let's go back here to the front and find a place to put this handwriting piece. And then, other than our inclusions, we're good. So I just need a place to put this piece of handwriting. I want it in here. I just need a place. So we have a doily in between those. You could put it right there. Or I could put it right here. I kind of like the handwriting with the botanical, but I also liked what I already had there. So let's see. It's sticking out a lot right there, but I think our cover will allow it. I mean, we definitely have room. We have a big old bunch of room there. In fact, it still might be too big of a cover, but for now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to add lace on the edge and stuff, so I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. It is definitely big. I'm going to leave it. We're going to open up to have this. It's beautiful. It's a little, it's a little soft, mild. Doesn't have a lot of color. I need to do my add-ins and I need to see if there is a place for the envelope. So this is how I have assembled it. This is the final one as far as I know right now. And we'll add in these two items when we flip through. There's that. You could have even done this guy up here in the front. I think I want him on this handwriting page. Hang on. Do we want to put it here? No, we don't. Okay, back to this. What about the envelope? We want to do like the envelope kind of folded and in there. I mean, it's got enough. The reason why I was thinking about it, it's got enough warm colors that the colors go. You could put it here. I don't think it would be bad to put it there. Even just the front flap there, and then you'll have the actual envelope part back here. That way you can still see your whole ledger page right here. But what will we add on this part right here? We'll have to add like a little extra page. Because I don't want to cover up the Florentine. So just something, even a tag glued right here would be cute. That flips over. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I've talked myself into it. I'm going to do it unless I find a better spot. But for now, that's good. This little bag would be cute here. I just added the envelope though. Okay. I like to space out the add-ons too. The add-ins, I don't like them too close together. It could go in there. It covers up our flowers, but it could go in there. It looks pretty cute like that. Let's see if there's any better place. Otherwise, it can stay in there. I don't want to do anything different here. No. I think it's good there. Okay, so I think we're good. I could have done it there. I really like those two together. I think that's super sweet. I could do it here. I think I like this better. Okay, good. We did it. We're good. We have everything. Our signature is assembled, and I'm happy with it this time as opposed to last time. I'm happy. Last time I was not happy with my signature when we got to this point, but today I am happy with it. It's a very nice, it's a beautiful signature, and we have our center spread right here. So when you have this journal open, you'll have this in the center of this pink little cover. It's cute. It's very cute. Okay. It did. It actually worked. And more so because of this digital that was back there. Because it has this orangey color and it's kind of over here. And it has this reddish color and that's kind of over here. The greens are the same greens. It kind of has everything, even the blues. So I'm going to leave it there and we're going to sew this guy in. The only thing I want to do is make sure that, everything is lined up where I want it. As far as like, I don't want everything down here at the bottom. I liked this guy up more in the center, at least spaced a little bit. Something like that. So I'm just going to zhuzh it a little bit. And then we're going to put it together. So I did bring in the needle, the stuff to sew it. We're going to go ahead and do that. Everything's reinforced. I'm just flipping through, making sure everything is lined up where I need it to go. Then at the end, if I want to tear off an edge or whatever, it's fine. But these straight edges here, these are probably the ones I'm going to add lace on. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay. This is the one that I don't want it at the bottom. I want it up here more in the center. So that's the one I got to watch for and make sure it doesn't move. And everything else is good. Yep. Okay. Push it together. Now, if you're going to sew around your cover, make sure that you've done that first. I would have liked to. Yeah, I would really like to sew around this actually. Because if I can pull out the batting, this is a brand new one. It's never been washed. So if I can pull out the batting, you're probably going to want to sew around it. But if you didn't sew around it, you could add lace or glue or something like that. Ultimately, it won't be a big deal. It is stitched. The quilt is stitched together. It's not going to come apart, but it could be a little more raggedy up here in the front. We're going to sew this one in, I think, just because I want to finish journal. And then maybe I will sew it in afterwards. Sew the cover afterwards. So right now I'm just kind of centering my journal, my signature, in the spine of my journal, folding it over, making sure my journal's all even, the quilt cover's all even. Everything's good there. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and sew this guy in. There's that. We just need to find that center right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that right in there. Let's see how we look. You want to make sure that you have an even amount of quilt all the way around, and I'm not happy with that. So you want to make sure that you have an even amount of quilt cover all the way around your signature. So if this is my signature, I want an even space at the top and an even space at the bottom and an even space here, as I will when I fold it over and have it here. You can't have your front cover be too short or whatever, vice versa. So let's go ahead. I can't see other than the camera really to position it. I feel like, yeah, there we go. That's a little better. I feel like we're pretty good there. And how are we when we fold over? Okay, we're better there. I'm going to try to pin it this way, just to keep it from moving. Here we go. And on this one, I think I do want those folded. Let's see if I can get it up in here now without it moving too terribly much. Now, because you have the quilt, you might have to kind of wrap it to get your clip on, because the cover is oversized. I think we're good. We're still centered for the most part. We haven't moved any. We have moved a little here. This is the part where I always struggle on camera, because whenever I'm sitting at my desk, the visual is very different. You really cannot see when you're filming. It's kind of hard. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see, that's better. Okay, So I am going to stand for this part because I think it's easier. I just get better view. You type in shifts tonight? Okay. So here's our little single signature. It's in a book cradle. Everything's looking good. The pages are lined up where I want them. Now you need to make sure that before you sew this in, that this is the front, and if you have a directional cover, that your pages and your cover are going the right direction. This one is, so it's all good. And then you don't really need to measure the holes that you're poking. If you want to do 5 hole, do 5 hole. If you want to do 3, do 3. I'm going to do 5, even though this is a quilt cover, which will be harder to sew in with 5. With 3, you will have no problem. With 5, because it's a quilt and it will move slightly, instead of being like a hard journal, it is going to give me, I'm just going to just say it, it is going to give me trouble when I try to sew in 5 holes. If you do 3, it's just simpler. You don't have as much wiggle room. But with 5 and a super soft cover with no structure, it is going to move. We're just going to get it done and figure it out. So anyway, you're going to poke your first hole in the center and you're just going to eyeball this. It doesn't need to be exact at all. Center hole right there. And I'm going to go about 1 inch from the very top right there, about 1 inch from the very bottom right there. Again, doesn't need to be exact. Don't need to get out the ruler. You're all good. Then after the bottom hole and the top hole and center hole are in, if you were doing 3 hole, you would stop right now and you would sew it in. For 5 hole, you want to use the distance between the top hole is right there, and this is my center hole, and you want to split the difference in half roughly, it doesn't matter, and poke another hole in between the 2 holes. Okay, so I'm going to do that again at the bottom. I've got my bottom hole right here, right there, and I've got my middle hole here, and you're just going to approximately split the difference. So just split the difference in between the 2, and there you go. Now I like to put the awl in and just leave it there while I get out the needle, the thread, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do 3 plus a little bit more because I want dangles. I'll actually do 4 because I want dangles. And we have a big cover. So there's the string. This is waxed linen thread. You can get it from Amazon. I've linked it a bunch of times. If you guys want links for anything, you want links for my printer, you want links for the thread, you want links for a journal binding kit, this is the one I'm using. It's a kit from Amazon. It's my favorite little thing ever, and it was super inexpensive. And it comes with all the needles and everything. So if you guys are new and you're looking for good supplies, I will link stuff for you. Just leave me a comment, like not in the live comments, but leave me a comment on the video. Like go out and come back in when the video's done or whatever. If you're hanging out here, leave me an actual comment so I can leave the link. And then that link will be there for anyone else who needs it too. So then I'm just going to thread this, assuming I didn't have too much coffee or any other number of things today. I tried to use the smallest needle that I had in there because I'm trying to do it so you guys can see it and so I can see it. I used the smallest needle because I wanted to have an easier time going with the 5 holes. Every time I've ever done a soft cover with 5 holes, it has given me trouble. So I just hate it. It just takes a minute to find your holes. Okay, so the awl is in there. I'm going to take out the whole entire thing out of the book cradle. We don't need the book cradle anymore. The awl is right there. You see it poking out. And that's where you're going to take your needle and thread through your first hole. Okay, so you're going to take the awl out while holding it all together. And you're going to take your needle and put it in. And there's my needle. And then I just pull it through until I have a tail down here at the bottom. I know you cannot see the tail, but I left about an 8-inch tail down there at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to my next hole, and this is where it gets hard because it's a quilt and it is soft and it moved around. You really cannot even see any holes back here. I can kind of see something there, and I got very lucky, and it seems like it hit it. We won't know until we open up in here and we hit it. So that was very lucky. Now the trouble is, holding it perfectly still as you wiggle this needle out, and it wants to get caught there. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to go to the top hole from the inside. The inside ones, you generally can find pretty good, but going through the quilt cover from the back, you really cannot even see holes. Okay, so there, that's sewn in. We're good there. Now you're at your top hole. For 5 hole, you're at your top. So you started in the center. You started from the inside center, went out. You went up 1 hole to the inside. Then you went up to the top hole from the inside out. So now you're out at the top. And now you have to work your way back down. Just remember, no matter which you're doing, 3 hole or 5 hole, you go up in order and you go down in order. And you have to go back through each hole. So that's why you're going through some holes twice. Okay, so now we have to fold it together. We're going to go back in this hole where this string is right here. Generally, I like these strings tight as I go, so I'm going to tighten that up. It kind of pulls the string out of the way too a little bit. And I'm going to try to get this straight in there. We may have done it. We did. So far, so good. Hold my signature down. If you want to use like a little like a rubber thimble thing on your finger to help get your needle in and out, that does help quite a bit, especially if you have any kind of sensitive finger parts. Okay, so now you're on the inside and you're 1 hole above the center. This is the center. We're on the inside, 1 hole above the center. So we're going to skip the center and we're going to go down to the next hole. Is that right? Hang on. We're going to go down, out. Yes, that is correct. So we're going to skip the center and go down 1 hole from the inside because we're on the inside. So skip the center. The center is right here. Skip it and go down to the next hole and go out. And then right there. Okay, so now we need to go down to our last hole down here, and we're on the outside. Let me make sure that we are tight in here. We are tight mostly. And now I'm going to pick it up and I'm squeezing it together. I can kind of see a hole maybe right there. Maybe. I think it is a hole. Yes, we might be in, we might not be. Let's see. We're in between pages, and that happens a lot. So when you're in between pages, back your needle out. What I mean by in between pages is you're not coming into the center. You're in the hole, but you're going in between pages instead of coming all the way out to the center of the journal. Sometimes you need to just kind of back it out and play and wiggle, and eventually it will go in. Don't get stressed. And whatever you do, don't get stressed to the point where you just jam it through, because there is already a hole there in your pages. And if you make another one, you're going to see it. So if all else fails and it's giving you trouble, whatever, take your pokey tool back from the inside, and I just kind of drag it along the spine and it will find the hole. So it's found the hole, and then I'll put the awl back in. And sometimes, you just need to make the hole a little bigger, something like that. So I'll put the awl in, make that hole a little bit bigger, and then right as I take that awl out, I'll try to put this needle back in. So there's the hole. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right there's the hole. And as long as you hit it straight, it should go. And I think we got it. So then we're on the inside, bottom hole. We pulled it tight. We have an awful lot of string here, which means I will need to even it out. But before I stress about that, I need a little bit more string here. Need just a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, we'll even it out here in a minute. Tightened everything back up so I can go back through the holes. We're on the inside. We need to go up to the next hole from the inside. Your second from the bottom. There we go. Okay. And that one went through this one's string. And so you want to try to fix that. You can't really leave it and sew it in. You want to try to fix that when it goes through this thread and splits it. Try to make that thread bigger and put that needle back through. I knew it was going to be too easy. So you don't want to split your thread when you go back through the holes if you can avoid it. And if you can fix it, fix it. If you can't fix it, it's up to you whether you start over or not. Let's see. I think we're out there. Let's go back up through the center. We're going to get it done. Okay, so back up through the center. We've already got a string in there. So you just want to pull that thread tight so that that string gets out of the way. And now we need to go back right through this hole right here, that center hole. And again, you're trying not to split that thread, so don't go like right through the thread that's there. And now we've got it. Okay, so that's our signature sewn in. As soon as I get this needle through, it's going through an awful lot of layers now. And I don't have pliers or a thumb thingy in here for when I do embroidery. So there's that. Our needle's through, and now you're going to take off your needle. I like to put my needle away because, again, it's one of those things that I throw away a lot. That's why I constantly have to buy, it's actually cheaper to buy a whole journal kit on Amazon than it is to buy another pack of good needles. So I like to put it away because I keep throwing them away. There's that. Then you want to make sure that your signature strings are tight, and like you have two tails here, you want to make sure, it doesn't really matter, one of the tails needs to go on the left of the center string and one of the tails needs to go on the right. Doesn't really matter which one goes where. And so if you split your thread, the reason why people stress out about splitting your thread is if you split your thread, it does make it harder to get this tight. It's not impossible. You will need to play with it a little bit to make it tight. And then, you can try to even out your tails too, so that one of them is not super short. So that's what I'm doing now, is just kind of playing with these. This is the one that got split, and there's the split. And that's why it is being difficult. Okay. So just tighten all of that up. This is the one right here that was split, and it is giving me problems. And that, it's what happens when the thread gets split. There really, other than trying to back out of it, isn't a whole lot you can do about that guy. Just try to make it tight. And he doesn't want to go tight. And it's because he's split. So when you split it, this thread is coming through, this thread that I sewed the whole signature in with is coming through this thread right here. There's actually a little knot of it right there. You can try backing it out, but honestly at this point it probably would be better to sew the whole thing in again with a new thread, because it's not going to ever be as tight as it should be with it the way it is. If you can get it all pulled out like this, there's just a couple little threads that are tight right there. you can attempt to cut those couple little threads like that, and that way they're not going through each other anymore. And as long as this string is still secure and you give it a pull, it's secure enough to continue. So I was able to fix this one, but you're not always able to fix things like that. And it's okay, you know, it's better it happens live like this on camera and you guys get a chance of seeing how to fix it if it happens to you. Maybe what you want to do is sew the whole thing in over again so you don't have to stress about it again, you know. That's a decision you're going to have to make. It's still giving me a little bit of trouble there. It's tight on the back. Where are we stuck? Right there. And it's because that one is also through. It happens. I'm not going to stress about it. I just want to tighten it. It's not going to do it. Well, we might be just doing this one over again, because I don't know if I can fix two in one. I don't think I can fix two in one. Let's see. Yeah, see, that one's like more dead in the center. I knew it was going too well. So I'm going to snip it just for the sake of the video. But just know after the video is done, I will sew this guy in again. So for the sake of him, let's finish it. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh well. We almost had it. We almost had it. Let's see, where are we at? Right there. We did it. Kind of, sort of. We did it. That was the hard way. Okay, so as long as you're straight here, and you're straight here, as long as like there's no tension, there's no loops. I mean, it needs to be tension. There's no loops. You don't want any loose little bits of fabric. Like this guy right here, he's through as well. This guy's definitely coming out and getting sewn back in. Anyway, for the sake of the video, we're going to go ahead and tie him off and move on. But he will definitely end up getting sewn in again. And what happened is when I went back through my holes, I ended up going through my string. Normally, when I'm sitting down in a chair and I've got my head directly over it, I can avoid that at least a lot more than I did here, where I went through it 3 times. But when you pull your strings tight, when you go back through the hole with your needle, when you pull them tight, the point of that is to pull that string off to the side and go with your needle on the other side of it. Unfortunately, I did not do that, but the journal signature is sewn in. So anyway, we have a journal completed. I'm not going to take my clips off because I need to undo mine and sew mine in again. But this part is done. The cover is done. Hopefully you've sewn around it. You've assembled your signature. You put your signature in. If you did what I did one time, where I cut a couple threads to undo the going through the other string, I think is okay. 2 times was really pushing it, but absolutely would I not leave it if I did it 3 times. So if I've hit my string 3 times, I just need to cut it out and start again. You already have your holes in there. What I recommend is, if you ever have to cut out a signature like this, if you ever have to cut out the string and start over, take your whole entire book, put it into your cradle the same way you had it. Hopefully you caught it before you took your clips off. If you already took your clips off, try to get them back on as quickly as you can. Put your whole book back in your cradle, take your awl and find that middle hole again with your awl. You're not going to be able to push the awl all the way down because you have string in there now, but at least put it there, and then take a pair of scissors and snip your strings, either from the back here, you can pull it and snip it, or you can snip it from the front. Just cut out your strings and start over, but I would suggest getting the awl in there, because the awl holds all of your pages in place so that they are less likely to move around when you're pulling the string out. So that's what I would do to fix it. And then I would just sit down and sew it in again. Don't be frustrated and stressed out. Just do it. Okay, so there's that part. We have about 30 minutes left. Hello, Dana. We have about 30 minutes left. What are helicopter seeds? You guys keep talking about seeds tonight. What are you'd have probably cussed? I probably have said some things before about, oh my gosh, that's that's not great. But you know what? It happens. People sew in signatures upside down. They do all kinds of things. So don't stress about it. It's white thread and a white journal cover. The odds of catching it somewhere was pretty good. Unfortunately, I did catch it 3 times, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I caught it now, and I wouldn't want to sell someone a journal. The problem is they will never be able to get tight enough. The signature strings won't ever be able to get tight enough because there is another string in there keeping it from really getting tight. So anyway, no big deal. We'll fix it. I just don't want to do it at this exact moment. Sometimes you need a moment to walk away from. Right in the lady's face. Sometimes, yep, sometimes they look like fairy wings. Maple tree seeds. Wow. I don't think I have ever seen that. I'm going to have to Google it now. Okay, so let me just set this to the side and let's just do some ephemera or something else until I am able to come back and do that. I am going to keep it in the little cradle, and I've got that pinned in there pretty good now with the awl. Sorry about that, guys. Not exactly ideal, but realistic. Realistic. All right, let's talk about ephemera. We can make some quick ephemera while we're here. I did do some printing. Where is that? So for ephemera so far, I think I have put it all in this bin. We have the little, this is just a prototype for my idea journal, but we have this guy here who has these little tags with the little journal card. I would like to do this little tag system of a belly band in that guy. This is here to remind me. I actually made 2 of them. They could have went in there had I thought about them and pulled them because they're on copy dyed paper, but I didn't. So whatever. They're fine, but they're there. And then we also have all of our masterboard pieces and our journal cards. So we have those ready to go. I know there's some that still need finished like those guys, but there is ephemera that is done here, and there's pockets that are done. So after you sew in your signature, the next thing I would do is start putting pockets in. Once you have your pockets in, I would add like the lace to the page edges. Might start working on the cover, but we have pockets here. We have these little folio things, which I'm not sure where they're going. These are the decorated glassine bags. So we already have a jump start on quite a bit of this. These were the little waterfall pockets that we made. So this stuff was made in 365 videos. And so every day on the channel, there's a video that comes out most days for 365. It's 365 junk journal ideas. And so that's where all this ephemera was made, but we will sit down and make some ephemera too. This guy was the one where the page folds out, and it's journaling space in there. This was a pen holder with the punches that I found that I was not using. And so it's like a tuck with a pen holder. Then there is a couple more of those and some punched edge pages. There's stuffed pockets. So not all of my stuff will have fairies on it. Some of it is just general ephemera. But see how it all will go together because it's floral, pretty, and butterflies. So we have quite a bit already made, and I did have some extra pages that I could put the extra pages in the other 3 journals. Okie doke. So I have lots of undecorated ephemera, masterboard pieces of ephemera. But let's go ahead and look at, we didn't make too terribly much so far in the 365 series. We made a lot, but not a whole journal's worth. let's go ahead and look at the digitals I printed. Let's find something to do with those. So these are pre-printed tags, and hold on a sec, I spilled something. Why is that in here? I'm pretty sure I tried to throw this away and it went into a box. Anyway, that can go in there now. I find stuff that's in the wrong place in this room all the time. These, I think, are ruby and pearl, if I'm not mistaken. So what I wanted to do with this stuff is, yes, I am going to use some of it as it is, but these I want to turn into journal cards. And I'm just going to glue them onto coffee dyed cardstock. I printed them on 28-pound paper. And I'm just going to glue them onto coffee dyed cardstock. That way it's coffee dyed on the backside and they're thicker and more sturdy to use. But for this kind of stuff, it's not even fairies, but it's going to go in there perfectly. I did print out a couple more of these pages because I wanted to make the waterfall envelope things that I made in the video. These are very large little did you catch that? Very large library cards with birds on them. This ephemera is just general stuff. I'm going to have some pages in this journal that just have like invoices and receipts and checks and stuff pinned on the side of the page. And I want some of these little embellishments to put on the top of that stack of like little ephemera. These are really cute. Super cute. And some birds. I know they're not fairies, but they're wings. They're birds. And those. And then I did some wallpaper pieces because I thought there is the kind of colors of this in this journal. So maybe we'll decorate some pockets, or maybe we'll make some pockets out of these wallpaper pieces. Let's keep those for a minute. Journal cards. These are tags, and I want to layer up some of the tags. Again, I'm going to layer them and then glue the whole thing to coffee dyed cardstock. These tags are all ruby and pearl, I believe. All of these ones. So I'm kind of showing you guys the cheater ephemera. So I call it cheater because it's a lot less work to start out with something that's basically already done. It's already a tag. It's much easier to start out with stuff like this and then add a couple little layering bits and then call it done. Anyway, that's cheater ephemera. Let's make some pockets. Let's make some pockets. See, I want to flip through the I want to flip through the signature to see which one of these is going to go. I know this one will go. And probably the blue. This one, this one, this one, and this one. I don't know. Let's just make them. Even if they don't go in this journal, they'll go in some journal. Let me pick up this pile of papers I dumped on the floor by accident. And I dumped a prototype on the floor that now needs assembled again. Okay. More tomorrow. You're making more tomorrow, or am I making more tomorrow? I have like 25 minutes. I have 25 minutes to craft, assuming I can get my share in here. So I'm going to make something because we have 25 minutes. Ooh, I have some file folder back here, and I have some offcuts of coffee dyed cardstock. These are perfect. Let's make some pockets. So we're going to use this wallpaper. How big is this? So he could be a pocket. Let's do this. Let's cut these. Let's see if I can cut two together. Let's cut these out. Now I'm not sure exactly where this guy cuts because He's fairly new, but I think we did pretty good. A little sliver. That's the only thing with these is just like finding the edge. I got it almost. We'll call that good. Okay, so we did that. Then we can cut them in half this way. I do have the chopper in here. I just don't know where it is. There's that. We're just cutting these down. These are Ruby and Pearl, and I think she has a bunch of other ones. All right, those are cut. Now let's put some book page or music or both with these. I think we could use this one because it has blue and red. This is just a happy one. I'm trying to find ones that have similar colors to our book. Possibly that guy. Obviously not all of them are lined up because they're not all straight now. I think 4 would be good. I don't think we need more than that. So let's save these 4 for another project. I have to learn how to use that one. The green one, it has a line where you can see where it's going to cut. This one does not have a line per se. I mean, you can kind of see, but you got to kind of be standing over it. So I am going to do a video reviewing all of the cutters that I have and kind of giving you guys what I like about each one, what I dislike about each one, and then you guys can decide what one you think is best. Maybe none of them work that I have for you guys. Maybe some of them do. I don't know. Let's find some music that is very tight together. This is one page, but it's very thick. Let me find some music that is thinner and tight together. What I mean by tight is all the music is clustered on a smaller page, less white space. Here's some handwriting. Do we want handwriting with it? There's that piece. We just need little bits of things. That's kind of too plain. And here's some little bits of book page. Let's play with these. All right, so we have cardstock scraps. We have wallpaper pieces. One at a time, let's make pockets. I'm going to glue that to that. Need to cut down this side just a little bit more. I'm looking for about a 4.5 inch wide pocket. That'll work. Let's get that glued down. You do have digitals? Awesome. Aw. You made hidden paper clips more tomorrow? Awesome. I think it is, yes. 65-pound cardstock, probably too thick for a signature. Probably. I didn't use any cardstock. I don't generally use cardstock in the signature. You can use whatever you want to use, but I don't like putting cardstock in my signature because I do find that it bulks it up too much and makes it way too thick. You could in this one because it is a quilt cover, but you're going to have to see how you like it. At least it's a quilt cover and you have some space to play with. But in a normal, like hardback single signature journal, that cardstock is going to bulk it out way too much. But you do you. And just because I have a preference doesn't mean that it's the right preference for you. You have to, you have to do what makes you happy. For me, I just struggle with it. It makes things too thick. Okay, so we backed this. We made a background of wallpaper. From there, I am going to cut it down to size here in a second, but from there, I think I just want to put a little strip of music across it. Cute little dictionary page. Let me see. Yeah, I need music because I need it to go long ways. And this is hymnal book. And we're just going to do a little music down here across the bottom. I didn't want to cover up the little rosebuds, but there really isn't a way. I can take off some of these words right here. And we're just going to go right like that. Perfect. Okay. Let's get that guy glued on. I'm not inking anything this project. Hello, Lynette. The paper that I'm using for like printables, digitals, I always print on 28-pound paper. Even my coffee dyed paper is 28-pound paper. I like 28-pound because it is not too thick. Not too thick and not too thin. It's sturdy enough that you can put some pretty weighty pockets on it and fill them full of goodies without making things too weighted down. It doesn't bulk out this signature. It doesn't shove pages too far to the right. It's just a nice weight of paper. So that's perfect. I do want another, I like to layer up labels, so I do want another label right here. But that's a cute little simple pocket. I am going to cut that down to size here in the cutter in a minute, but I want to let that glue dry. Let's go ahead and do another couple of these. And we're going to start out just by gluing some cardstock on the back of something. So these two seem to run this way. We already have that guy. I don't know that he goes in there. Let's do these two. If I can get them both to fit on there. They need cut down. I need this one to be 4.5 inches. Is it 4.5? It is 4.5. Okay, then I don't need to cut it down. I mean, I could have cut it this way, but whatever. We're going to cut it this way. We're going to leave it overhang and cut off the bottom later. That's perfect. Okay. 28-pound I think is just perfect, but I've seen people make journals and they do use cardstock, and they, some of them like Wendy, and I don't know what her last name is, but Wendy, I think it's Wendy's Journal Adventures, I think. She likes to use cardstock as the first page in a signature, and she feels like it protects, she said that she feels like it protects the signature because it's, sturdy and heavyweight right there in the front of the signature. I don't feel like I need to protect them. I don't feel like I need to do that. But, different people overbuilding journals for a length of time, They've developed what they like. And so just because it works for me or her or anyone else you're watching, whatever, it doesn't mean that it's, going to work for you or that you're going to like it. So just try out your ideas first and see if you like them. If you do, great. If you don't, then maybe you go back to the drawing board and try something different. So this one's just a little pocket. Let me see if I can cut this one down now. I don't feel like it's very straight, but that's more the size I'm looking for. That's a little shorter. Okay. Let's see if we can get one more here. And then I want to put music on this one too, but I'm going to wait and do both of them here in just a second. This one, I need to isolate my pretty flowers at the top. That'll work. I mean, we all we have to learn from somewhere. So, when I was new, I watched whatever it was that was available to watch. So, back then there was not a whole lot of things, like I didn't really even find YouTube until much, much later anyway. But whenever I was learning, I just watched whatever I could watch, and I just, tried different people's ideas. And sometimes I agreed and loved what they were making and how they were making it. And other times I was like, I don't think that's for me. But you don't know until you try. So maybe you're going to like 65-pound cardstock in there. If there was ever a journal cover to do it in, it would probably be this one. Again, a little small pocket, but there's places where we can use these. Perfect. Okay, now we need some, I am going to thumb hole notch the tops of them, but we need a little bit of music. And I try to do it where I've got 2 rows of music. So like I'm tearing in between 2. Really, I just want to. It doesn't matter if it's slightly crooked or whatever. And from there, I will, cut it down, taper it down, whatever. Like this whole side right here is a little too big. You just got to look at it and figure it out. That looks pretty good to me. And then this one's going to get a little haircut over there. And, you could do that, but it's kind of like just a big rectangle. That's why I like to tear off the little edge. Somewhere on here, it needs to have a little haircut. And maybe this one, we should have went this way with it. I can't flip it over because it's not as pretty over there. And if we go there, it's a little bit too blocky. So let's find a different little piece of music for that one. If I can pick it up. So again, I'm just going in between, kind of, sort of. Now we want the big side to be over there and the little side to be over here. I mean, it's just a little sliver, but I think it'll work. Okay, so I've got this much to clean up and play with later, but let's glue these on. The paper that I use, the 28-pound paper, is that what you're asking, Lynette? The 28-pound paper, if that's what you're asking, is the Hammer Mill premium color copy paper. It comes in a 28-pound, I think it comes in a green package from Hammer Mill. This music is upside down. No, it's not. We're going over there with it. We're good. It's in a green package, I believe, from Hammer Mill, and I just order it from Amazon in the case of 5 reams because I print on it and I use it all the time. So, I mean, it's just in the printer, and whatever I'm printing, it's going on there, unless I pull it out and put like vellum or something else in there. So there's little bits of music. Now let me get the hole puncher, the tab punch. We need to do a video on tabs too, because I need to make a bunch of tabs and I want to make them out of different things. I don't want to make them out of your standard I punched cardstock tab. Okay. So we're doing that. The hammer mill, so 28-pound paper is not all the same. It's not all the same. The hammer mill kind has a very specific finish to it. It prints beautifully, as well as it has a very nice smooth feel to it. Everyone here who has ever bought anything I've printed for you, or if you've gotten a kit from me and you feel the paper that I print for you, like the focal points for this one or something, that's on that 28-pound paper. So like the little fairy images, that's on 28-pound paper, the hammer mill one. Not all 28-pound paper is created equal. It's not all going to feel the same. It's not going to have the same finish on it. The 28-pound that I'm using and telling you guys about is because it prints beautifully. First of all, it prints beautifully. Second of all, it's the right weight for the journal. So, you know, if you're looking to print digitals, you have to look at more than just whatever cheapest 28-pound paper is. I can tell you without a doubt, if you're buying any type of Walmart brand, Walmart pen and gear, whatever they sell there, paper, that paper, you know, it's cheaper for a reason. The finish is what determines your print quality. And paying, if you're printing and you're printing digitals, paying for a better quality paper like that is really going to make your prints look better than on a cheaper paper, because the cheaper paper is cheaper because of finish. The finish is what the ink lays on to make the print darker colored, more vibrant, that kind of thing. So I will tell you that while I'm saying use 28-pound paper, I hope that you at least try the hammer mill one time and tell me how you like it. Or feel the digitals that I included and look at the way that that ink lays on that paper, and, you know, see if you've got another 28-pound paper, compare them, because I have done all of the research. I've bought all the brands of paper. I've tried printing on them. When I first got this printer, I actually didn't like it at all until I changed some settings and then found that paper. So between the paper and that, I think it's awesome. There are some people who will swear by very expensive matte photo paper. That paper for printing digitals, it does do a nice job. I do not like the feel of it. I don't like the way it is finished. It does keep ink nicely, but I think that the 28-pound paper feels better and keeps ink better than the matte photo paper. And the matte photo paper is always very expensive, and I just don't think it's necessary. So I would save the money from the matte photo paper and spend it on a better quality, better finish, regular standard 28-pound paper. We have these. We need to put some kind of little decoration on them. I'm looking to see what I have in my little bin as far as what can we stick here. I have a little postage stamp. I have a little postage stamp, and that wouldn't be bad on them. Let's see. What do I have for the blue one? A yellow, maybe? Do I have a yellow? Not that yellow. Not that one. We might have to do red on there. Or pink, or whatever that is. Let me audition a few more 100 stamps. Not that one either. That's exactly the one. The Hammer Mill 28 pound. I think we'll just do blue. I like the fact that they're kind of blendy, even that one. So let's do that. I don't want them to stand out too much. Let's do that. And then some other layer. We have to have minimum 3 things there. And yes, we have a background, but 3 things down here in these little clusters. How about something more linear? We could put words on them. Here, this little pink one was right on the top. Do you want to do that? You want to do half a teaspoonful? It doesn't really go with our journal, but it's there. I don't like that one either. 1,000 doesn't really mean anything. This one says 75 years. I need some tweezers sometimes. No, no, and no. Mm-mm. You gotta find the right one. So basically I'm layering up 3 tiny little things down here. I don't like that one either. I think it's the right color for the flowers, but I don't like the actual little label. I might have to go get another pack of these. I use all my favorites every time, and then I'm just left with these random ones that I don't know what to do with. Because I don't do a lot of grungy or I don't do a lot of different styles. Maybe we just do the neutral one there. I don't know, but I think we have some that we can work with there. So let's just figure that out. Basically, I built a little cluster on top of our little pockets, and I am going to do this one. He just needs a border around him. Okay, let's ink them. What are the paper roses? What paper are the roses? Oh, they're Ruby and Pearl wallpapers. Ruby and Pearl wallpapers. She has a bunch of kits of wallpapers, so you'll have to look and find the one that has the most roses if you're looking for roses. And I have a bunch of them, so I don't know exactly which one this came from. So I'm going to give these guys a little border, and then we're going to glue them on, and we're going to have 3 pockets. 1 wallpaper pocket per journal, so that we don't have too much repetition. But that was a simple, fast little pocket, and it was simple and fast because we cheated and had this wallpaper, digital, in the back. Yeah, I put on 8.5 by 11. Is that what you're asking? I've linked it a bunch of times in videos. I can link it again if you are having trouble finding it, but if you look for Hammer Mill 28, sometimes they don't have the single ream available. Sometimes you have to buy more than 1 ream, at least in my location. It might be different in other locations, but usually the 1 ream is pretty expensive compared to the box of 5 reams. So I just get the box of 5 reams. I'm always using it. For me, it makes sense. It may not make sense for you, but it makes sense for me that way. Hmm. Hmm. I'm not sure I like that there. Before it sticks, let's try that again. I need to actually pay attention to it. I can't be like, oh, it's just a little clustery thing. Who cares? I can't. Gotta put it over the stamp. I was doing the stamp over top, and no, it has to go over. Okay. Now this one, I think over too. Good night, Cece. Okay. There's that stamp. And I know you guys were asking for stamps again. I do have some stamps left, but I do not have a bunch of them. I will have to find us some more. But I do have some stamps. I have some that are on the paper still, and I have some that are just like these, where they're free loose stamps. I have a laser printer. I have like 4 printers now, but the laser printer I actually print on 32-pound paper. And the 32-pound paper I like, but very rarely. I don't usually put the laser printer images. A laser printer cannot print borderless, so I don't print pages for the journal, digitals for the journal pages, signature pages. I don't print those on the laser. I only print those on the EcoTank. A, it's the best cost-effective way of doing it. B, it's the laser printer leaves a border. There's no laser printer in the world that will not leave a border unless you print on a much larger page and then cut off the border, but it still leaves a border when it prints. So that being said, I print specialty things on the laser. I have a very expensive laser that I got around Christmas time that I haven't even gotten to play with. It's supposed to print me some very nice large pieces that I've been trying my hardest to do for you guys, but I never have time. So we made 3 little pockets. They're super simple, super sweet though. Love them very much. And they're just, I mean, it was like 5 minutes. If I wasn't chatting with you guys or looking for something, it was 5 minutes. And if I didn't have to cut it 5 times. But anyway, we have one for every journal I'm making. Total of 3. All right, well, we're pretty much there. We did make a signature. I know I'd have to redo it, but we did make it. So that's done, kind of. Let me flip this camera back around and we will chat for just a few minutes. Got to get it all set up. So we made these 3 pockets and we have a half sewn in signature right there. I mean, it's sewn in, but I'm going to redo mine. Okay, so where's my cameras? They're around here somewhere. There's my cameras. Yes, it is. Okay. So you guys are still asking about printing. What are you asking? Do I use a heavier weight for labels? Like printed shipping labels or journal labels? If it's just a journal digital label, I just print all things for digitals. All digitals get printed on 28-pound paper, unless I print it on a 65-pound cardstock or a 110-pound cardstock for, like, if I'm printing a tag or a journal card or something that, you know, you would want to have on cardstock. But other than that, all that stuff gets printed on 28-pound paper. The label printer I have prints thermal labels. Digital journal labels are 28-pound paper because I just like them to be thin so that I can layer them up on top of things. I don't want to add a big bunch of bulk. You could print them on cardstock, but I don't feel the need. For cardstock, I like a different brand. It's weird, but for cardstock, I like the Nina Super Smooth cardstock. If I'm printing tags or journal cards, something that is a finished piece of ephemera, I print that on Nina 110-pound Super Smooth cardstock. Super Smooth is the higher end, most expensive cardstock, but because you're printing onto cardstock, you need it to be super smooth, which is the name of the paper, because only the smoothness on cardstock is what impacts print quality. If it's at all bumpy, which you probably wouldn't even be able to feel the bumps, but the super smooth, you need that glassy like surface so that that ink just lays down and behaves itself. Bumpy means your image is not quite as clear and not quite as dark. Yes, that's when I started using it, from stamping and card making days. Nina, they do have cheaper Ninas, and I still use the cheaper Nina cardstock for certain things, generally not finished pieces of ephemera. Anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. I was a little bit, the signature always makes me mad. When it makes me mad when it doesn't go perfectly on camera for you guys. Because I know the second I turn the camera off and I sit down in my actual craft room where I normally sew them in at, it's going to go perfect, and I'm going to be like, thank you for that. Hmm. Well, the cheap paper is still good for other things, like general printing of stuff is fine. Maybe you want to try out something. You're printing something as a test run to see if you like it. You can print that on cheaper paper before you use your better paper. But even the 28-pound paper that I'm recommending from Hammermill, even one ream of it is usually around $15, which $15 for 500 pieces of paper, I think it's 500. It might be 250. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's still very inexpensive when you think about buying a sheet of cardstock at the craft store for $3 or whatever one piece of cardstock is these days. So I think the 28-pound paper at 15 per ream is pretty good. Now, sometimes when you get the 5 reams, and I've told you guys this before with Amazon, if something is on Amazon, what I would recommend doing is putting it in your cart, and if you don't need it right that day, leave it in your cart. Amazon will send you notifications when the price increases or decreases. If you didn't know, everything on Amazon, the price fluctuates kind of like the stock market. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. I am not working for Amazon. I don't know why they do it, but I have hunches of why they do it, right? Like it depends on what seller is selling it at that moment. Because if you didn't know, also on Amazon, there are a bunch of different sellers. Amazon is kind of like eBay. You don't really think about that there are sellers all over the United States selling your product when you buy it on Amazon. You think you're buying it from Amazon, but most of the time you are buying it from Amazon, but sometimes you're buying it from an individual person. Like in their spare bedroom, they're selling a Christmas gift that they got because they didn't like it or whatever, and they put it on Amazon, and you don't know it because the Amazon ad looks like a really professional Amazon ad. But when those other sellers are listing their products, it drops or increases the price, whatever, based on supply and demand kind of things. And so when you put things in your cart and you let them sit in there, Amazon will send you notifications when it decreases. And sometimes by putting it in your cart, even for like 48 hours, it will decrease in price by $5 or $7, or sometimes it'll have like a little 25% off or whatever. So if you don't need it right this minute, you could put it in your cart and you could wait and see. And I have seen the 5 ream box go on sale for like $47 for me, which is less than $10 a ream for 5 reams. So you do have to buy 5, but for me, I use them. So anyway, right, Amy? We're not even going to talk about that. Not even going to talk about it. All right, for all of you new people who joined, who are still here, I will be here on Tuesday for a live sale. There is a Facebook group called Junk Journal Makers. It is linked in the description box below. All of my links are in the description box below. I don't know if there's Amazon link in there or not anymore. I used to have Amazon favorites page with all of that stuff linked. I don't think it's there anymore. It's one of the things on my to-do list where I need to go back and relink my Amazon favorites page so that you guys can see all my favorite things. But anyway, all my information is in the description box below the video. If you guys have anything you want me to link specifically because we didn't already talk about it or whatever, you guys can leave a comment and I will come back and answer those comments with links so that you have the exact thing if you need it. I'm pretty sure you guys are all good now, but anyway, I really appreciate you guys joining me. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will be back here on Tuesday, and we'll be having some more fun on Tuesday. Different kind of fun, but we'll be having more fun on Tuesday. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I don't see any questions, so we're going to go ahead and let you all go and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Bye, guys.